Chapter 1357. At this moment, the red-armored man had already assumed a defensive stance. However, the purple masks that appeared in the sky didn't crack open like before and pour into the sea. All of a sudden, the purple masks shattered into pieces. The night sky was indescribably strange under these purple fragments. These purple fragments scattered in the night sky, finally gathering together to form a small purple 9-story pagoda. There were several dark purple prajna masks on each level of this 9-storied pagoda. On the prajna mask, there was a small, ink-colored snake crawling. The purple pagoda set off a purple wave in the night sky. Then, the first, second, and third floors of the purple pagoda lit up. The first layer, the third layer, and the third layer. The black snakes swimming on the wisdom mask drilled into the mask at the same time. The hollow eyes of the wisdom mask instantly turned into snake pupils. Then, strange snapping sounds rang out in the sky. Following these 3 snapping sounds, the night sky became even darker. Large amounts of indescribable black objects poured out of the open 3-story pagoda. These indescribable black objects emitted strange laughter. These laughter entered the red-armored man's ears. The red-armored man felt a sense of dread, as if he had been exiled to endless darkness. The red-armored man hurriedly gathered his thoughts. Just as he was about to make a move, the sea suddenly turned a murky blood red. The Red Sea spun, forming a bloody vortex that stretched as far as the eye could see. Slowly, a millstone appeared in the middle of the vortex. The millstone spun, emitting a dull grinding sound. The blood-colored millstone propped up a blood-colored barrier on the surface of the sea, welcoming the indescribable black objects that the purple demon pagoda had sent down. The instant these indescribable black objects landed on the blood-colored millstone's barrier, they seemed to be absorbed by an indescribable spatial power. The grinding sound of the millstone intensified, as if the millstone was grinding these indescribable black objects into dregs. For a time, the blood-colored millstone and the purple demon pagoda in the sky were in a deadlock. A man even more muscular than the red-armored man appeared on the blood-colored millstone. Beside the man was a beautiful man with long orange hair and a red robe. After the orange-haired man appeared, he raised his head and glanced at the purple tower that had 3 floors. Then, he quietly played with the pair of golden-red fruits in his hands. The man on the blood-colored millstone turned around and said to the orange-haired man, "Du Miao, I've agreed to all the conditions you mentioned before. We can be considered allies now. The Freedom Federation and the Radiance Federation have always been sworn enemies, and the enmity between them is even greater than the enmity between the Imperial Mermaid clan and the Imperial Ray clan. The phenomenon caused by my blood sea millstone is in the sea region. It doesn't have much effect on the phenomenon in the sky. I'm not afraid of Radiance's Night Empress in a face-to-face battle, but if I want to tear apart this long, silent night, I still need your help." The orange-haired man revealed a warm smile. However, despite this warm smile, the orange-haired man did not agree to the man's request. "Uao, Du Miao, have never helped anyone for free. My allies are no exception. Before, you agreed to my request because I also agreed to your Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids' request. This is a deal between us, a deal that is beneficial to both parties. It isn't difficult to tear apart this long, silent night. If I help you, what can you give me, Uao?" Uao didn't mind Du Miao's words. The Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids had a lot of dealings with the Freedom Federation. Otherwise, they wouldn't have moved to the Freedom Federation's sea region. If they wanted to cooperate with the Freedom Federation's majesty, they would focus on benefits. As long as they could satisfy the Freedom Federation's majesty's expectations for benefits, everything could be discussed. The Freedom Federation was completely different from the Radiance Federation. It was possible to cooperate with the Radiance Federation's majesty, but the premise of this cooperation must be beneficial to the Radiance Federation. If they were to cooperate with the Radiance Federation's majesty that would harm the Radiance Federation's interests, it would likely lead to a war. In terms of overall strength, the Radiance Federation and the Freedom Federation were comparable. However, the Radiance Federation was undoubtedly more feared by the Ocean Empire's 8 imperial clans than the Freedom Federation. This was the essential difference between placing a pair of chopsticks separately and placing them in a bundle. Yuao, who had cooperated with Du Miao before, knew Du Miao's expectations for benefits. Yuao immediately gave a base price that was in line with Du Miao's expectations. I can give you the use of the floating island whales in the sea region that are imperial mermaids and mermaids rule. The premise is that you, Du Miao, have the ability to make these floating island whales voluntarily agree to help you transport the goods. Upon hearing that, the corners of Du Miao's good-looking mouth curled up into a 45-degree arc. Your imperial mermaids are really a competent Ocean Empire clan. The floating island whale is a cardinal treasure of the Ocean Empire, and it has become a bargaining chip for your imperial mermaids to negotiate for cooperation. I'm cooperating with your imperial mermaids because I like this point of your imperial mermaids. As soon as he finished speaking, an orange flaming whip appeared in Du Miao's hand. After this whip appeared, the air around it seemed as though it was burning. Du Miao held the whip and didn't target the strange purple pagoda in the sky. Instead, he swung it toward the night sky far away from the demon pagoda and chanted. Tear it apart, lava abyss whip. A flame shot out from the swing of the whip and rushed into the night sky. The night sky seemed to have become the fuel for this flame, burning fiercely. Under the burning flame, a hole suddenly appeared in the night sky. The setting sun in the west emitted a remnant light that suddenly lit up the silent night. After the night sky was torn open and the sun was revealed, the sunlight made the flame burn even more fiercely. More of the night sky was burned by this flame. Night Leaning Moon, who was in the Radiance Royal Court, looked at the flame burning in the sky, and her eyes suddenly bloomed with a bloodthirsty aura. Du Miao, 10 years ago, you were the one who held me back and prevented me from fighting alongside Siyue. Otherwise, with me burning my lifespan first, Siyue wouldn't be able to burn her lifespan again. The black crystal in Night Leaning Moon's hands suddenly split into two under the activation of her spiritual power. At that moment, the purple demon pagoda in the Radiance Federation's Southwest Sea region also split into two. One of the purple demon pagoda crashed toward the flame. A large amount of black matter intertwined with the flame, preventing it from continuing to burn the power of night. However, the splitting of the purple demon pagoda also reduced the pressure on the Blood Sea Millstone. At present, Yuao was commanding the Blood Sea Millstone to counterattack the purple demon pagoda. Lin Yuan had been paying attention to the weather anomaly ever since it had started. From Lu Jie, he knew that this night sky was the power of the Spirit Guard's chief guard Night Leaning Moon's sacred source life form. This was not the first time he saw such an ability to change the weather. ABC Chapter 1358. He did not know why the chief guard of the Spirit Guards wanted to change the weather. However, since he knew that the night was Night Leaning Moon's handiwork, Lin Yuan naturally had to stand on her side. Feeling the sun's suppression on the night, Lin Yuan turned to the Mother of Bloodbath beside him and asked, Mother of Bloodbath, you've awakened the favored spirit. Mother of Bloodbath, you have awakened the Sky Corona Jade Spider bloodline. You can communicate with the sun. Can you reduce the sun's influence on the power of night? The Mother of Bloodbath did not answer immediately. If the chief guard of the Spirit Guards was fighting an enemy, then this level of conflict was obviously not something it could intervene in. However, according to Lin Yuan, it could only reduce the sun's influence on the power of night. The Mother of Bloodbath felt that it could do it. After trying to communicate with the sun and feeling for a while, the Mother of Bloodbath said to Lin Yuan, I'll communicate with the sun. Lin Yuan, I'll communicate with the sun. The sun and I will be connected by a sun chain. As long as this sun chain is not forcefully cut off or isolated, I can stop the sun from shining. His master's bright moon high sky and twin moons high sky were equivalent to changes to the heaven and earth phenomena. However, in terms of impact, the change from day to night was obviously greater than the bright moon high sky and twin moons high sky. The Mother of Bloodbath had the confidence to say that it could stop the sun from shining because it had inherited the Sky Corona Jade Spider bloodline's ability to control the sun's light. Although the Mother of Bloodbath was only at Myth 3, its ability to control the sun's light was no weaker than a sacred source life form at its peak. Of course, the premise was that the sun chain that the mother of Bloodbath used to communicate with the sun would not be cut off by other experts. Once it was cut, the mother of Bloodbath would lose its connection with the sun. Only when the mother of Bloodbath's strength reached a certain level could it make the sun chain strong enough to communicate with the sun. At the same time, the mother of Bloodbath could rely on its own strength to protect the sun chain. When Lin Yuan heard the mother of Bloodbath's words, he did not immediately let it communicate with the sun. Instead, he asked the mother of Bloodbath, "If an expert cuts off the sun chain that separates you from the sun, will your safety be affected?" Upon seeing that Lin Yuan was worried about its safety, the mother of Bloodbath felt warmth in its heart. The mother of Bloodbath smiled under the night sky and said softly to Lin Yuan, "Severing the connection between me and the sun will at most prevent me from communicating with the sun. It won't threaten my safety. Unless the expert who released that ball of flame triggered the celestial phenomenon and directly attacked me." This is the Radiance Federation's royal capital. If someone really wants to trigger a celestial phenomenon in the sky above the royal capital, the crowns in the Radiance Federation will not agree. As it spoke, the mother of Bloodbath's hair lit up with a faint light. The delicate light spots shuttled back and forth between the mother of Bloodbath's hair, adding a touch of gentleness to its cold temperament. Immediately after, these spots of light acted as a catalyst, causing all the mother of Bloodbath's hair to light up. Finally, a crown made of sunlight was placed on the mother of Bloodbath's head. The evening sun was dim. Although the light of dusk shone through the night and lit up the world, it still made the world shrouded in darkness hazy. In the dusk, the mother of Bloodbath was like the rising sun on earth. With Lin Yuan's return from Faraway Manor as the center, the light emitted from the mother of Bloodbath's hair illuminated half of the royal capital and into the Radiance royal court. As the mother of Bloodbath circulated its spiritual power, the setting sun seemed to sense something and suddenly lit up with a dazzling light. It was as if it was not dusk but noon. The sun descended, and a chain made of light fell on the mother of Bloodbath, making it look like the sun goddess while bathed in sunlight. Just as everyone watching the celestial phenomenon thought that the sun was going to help the orange flames drive away the night sky, the sun's brilliance suddenly converged. Biyao did not use his lava abyss mantle whip to attack the purple demon towers in the sky. Instead, he chose to attack the night sky. He hoped to tear open the night sky to reveal the sun and use the sun's heat to enhance the flames. At the same time, he relied on the sunlight and the power of night to offset each other and weaken the power of night. However, the sun's light was converged and no longer offset the power of night. Biyao's plan was tantamount to failure. At that moment, there was only one way to end this silent night, and that was to face the two purple demon towers in the sky. However, Biyao's mind was not on the purple demon towers. Instead, it was on the descending chain. Biyao could not help but think about it. There were only so many sacred source lifeforms that had reached the complete stage in the world. Pinnacle experts belonged to different factions, and most of them had fought before. The Radiance Federation did have an eminence that could use a sacred source lifeform to form a celestial phenomenon related to the sun. This eminence did have the ability to stop the sun from shining. However, none of this was done by the Radiance Federation's His Holiness. The descending chain was too thin and small, and it was enough to see that the person who made the sun descend the chain was not very strong. This kind of strength was not worthy of a 9-star sacred source lifeform. Therefore, it was very likely that a favored spirit had caused the sun to descend the chain. Didn't the sun descend several chains in the Radiance's direction a few hours ago? Biyao had also noticed the sun phenomenon. At that time, Biyao was certain that a favored spirit had awakened its bloodline in the Radiance's direction. Everything had happened too coincidentally, and the descending chain was very likely the work of that favored spirit. However, if it was really the work of the favored spirit, then things would be troublesome. Everything that had happened was a grudge between the Radiance Federation and the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids. It had happened in the sea region near the Freedom Federation, so it was reasonable for him to intervene. However, if it involved the favored spirit, he might be viewed as an enemy by the Heaven-Blessed Mansion if he intervened. It was known that the Heaven-Blessed Mansion was very protective. Previously, a medium-sized federation had wanted to detain and capture a favored spirit that had yet to reach Diamond. In the end, that favored spirit was unwilling to be restrained and burned its bloodline to trigger a celestial phenomenon. Not long after, the heaven-blessed mansion came knocking and used a forceful stance to force the medium-sized federation to hand over the favored spirit. At the same time, the heaven-blessed mansion's master had caused the medium-sized federation to have no harvest for 3 years as a punishment. This matter had shocked the entire continent. It was also this matter that pushed the heaven-blessed mansion, which was formed by the favored spirit, to the heart of the struggle. The heaven-blessed mansion might have been living in seclusion, but when something really happened, none of the heaven-blessed mansion's master was easy to get along with. Du Miao had always prioritized benefits when doing things. No matter when, he would only be willing to do things when the returns were greater than the effort. There was indeed a favored spirit in the heaven-blessed mansion that could trigger the sun's power. Chapter 1359. However, this chosen spirit should have been killed by the 5 pages of truth of the Tower Canon many years ago. This matter was not known to the smaller federations. However, the Freedom Federation was one of the 3 great federations. Could it be that the Heaven-Blessed Dojo's second dojo master, Tian Gui Jade Spider, was not killed by the 5 pages of truth? Something's not right. The information couldn't be wrong. Moreover, the strength of this sun chain was not right. It was definitely not something the second Hall Lord of the Blessed Heavens Mansion could unleash. That was strange. Could it be that after the death of the Heavens Blessed Dojo's second dojo lord, another spirit of the sun appeared in this world? Seeing that Du Miao didn't have any intention to continue attacking, instead, he had a pensive look on his face. Yuao could not help but ask. Du Miao, we've already discussed the conditions just now. You deal with the Dark Night celestial phenomenon, and I'll give you 10% of the floating island whales' resources in the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids' territorial waters. You can't go back on the deal we just made. Du Miao raised his eyebrows under his long orange hair. We did discuss a deal just now, but this deal is only targeted at the Radiance Federation's Night Empress and didn't involve the Heaven-Blessed Mansion. Yuao, the price you've given me is too low after adding the Blessed Dojo. Hearing Du Miao's words, Yuao's face showed a hint of anger. No one knew if he was angry at Du Miao for breaking the promise, or angry at the sun chain in the sky. Du Miao did not care about Yuao's attitude at all, but Yuao could not wait any longer. The Night Empress came aggressively and it was impossible for her to stop so easily. If they really ended up in a stalemate here, the aftermath of the battle might threaten the other members of the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids clan. As the leader of the Imperial Mermaid clan, Yuao could not just watch the members of the Imperial Mermaid clan die in front of him. Yuao gritted his teeth and said, 30%, I'll give you 30%. If the Blessed Abode comes looking for trouble, my Imperial Mermaid clan will take responsibility. While speaking, Yuao's blood-colored energy seeped out of his body, and the blood sea millstone under his feet paused. Then, the blood-colored millstone flung a dark red substance into the sky. It looked like the residue left behind after the millstone grinded something. This mass blocked the sun and cut off the sunlight chain connecting the sun and the mother of bloodbath. The reason why Yuao chose to do this was because he had weighed the pros and cons. Du Miao was a person who prioritized profit over everything, so it was impossible for him to take the initiative to offend the Blessed Heavens Mansion. Thus, he could only resolve Du Miao's worries and drag the hatred of Heaven's Blessed Dojo onto the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids. Only then would Du Miao be able to attack again. He had indeed blocked the connection between Hui Yao's favored spirit and the sun. However, he did not harm the heavenly chosen spirit. The heaven-blessed mansion had always been reasonable, so they probably wouldn't make a big fuss over this. Hearing Yuao's words, coupled with Yuao's actions just now, Du Miao felt that the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids clan had indeed been implicated. Du Miao decided not to stand idly by. Du Miao waved the long whip in his hand, and the long whip turned into a giant flaming snake. The giant snake's body was brown and several thousand meters long. Its body was covered in rolling lava, like a moving mantle. After Du Miao removed his phase exclusive specialization, he leaped onto the lava abyssal mantle snake's back. Biyao pointed to the sky with his right hand, and the sea level surged violently. A volcano that seemed to be able to melt the entire world grew from the bottom of the sea. The volcano spewed out a large amount of lava into the sky, engaging in a fierce battle with the power of night. Two flying snakes made of lava flew out of the volcano's crater and headed toward the two purple demon towers. Biyao and Night Leaning Moon relied on the astronomical phenomenon triggered by the sacred source lifeforms to fight. Biyao's all-out attack relieved the pressure on Uao. Uao joined the battle. He lifted the blood millstone formed from the sea with one hand and threw it toward the night sky. Night Leaning Moon, who was in the Radiance Royal Court, felt the blood-colored millstone flying toward the night sky. She clenched the black crystal that had split into two in her palm. The black crystal pierced into Night Leaning Moon's palm and absorbed her blood. This caused the black crystal in Night Leaning Moon's palm to change again. The black crystal did not continue to split, but an indescribable figure appeared in each of the black crystals. At that moment, the 4 levels of the 2 purple demon towers opened at the same time. A monster made of an indescribable black substance flew out of the 4th level of the 2 purple demon towers. After the 2 monsters appeared, they fought with the 2 fire snakes that flew out of the volcano. The 2 purple demon towers rose into the sky and crashed toward the blood-colored millstone. They looked like they were going to smash the blood millstone. Night Leaning Moon was fighting 2 enemies by herself, while in the sky above an unknown sea region. A red-haired man with odd pupils was originally rushing and did not care that the day had suddenly turned into night. The red-haired man was followed by a blue-haired woman and a burly man in a fishing net suit. The burly man in the fishing net suit let out an extremely comfortable panting sound under the night sky. It seemed like the burly man in the black fishing net suit was very comfortable under the night sky. Shueshua, Blue Lotus, and the Radiance Night Empress power of night taste so good. It's the taste I like. I must meet the Night Empress when I go to the Radiance Federation this time. Do you think she's easy to flirt with? Will she also like the smell of the power of night on my body? Shueshua was only thinking about his daughter, so he had no time for Baifeng. The corner of Lan Lian's mouth twitched when she heard Baifeng's words. Baifeng's frivolous behavior had caused the power of night within her to be tainted with a foul smell. The Night Empress, as Her Majesty Biyao, was an outstanding talent of the present age. As long as such a person had a normal sense of beauty and didn't have any special hobbies, he definitely wouldn't fall for Baifeng. Lan Lian felt that if a burly man wearing a fishnet suit and painted his nails chased after her, she would definitely be extremely annoyed. If this burly man thought that he was feeling good and forcefully tried to flirt with the girl, he might even fight with this burly man. They had 3 goals for going to the Radiance Federation this time. The first was to find the daughter of Shueshua and Yugue. The second was to find the heavenly protector spirit that could absorb many types of phenomena. The third was to express his gratitude to the Moon Empress. Baifeng went to flirt with the Night Empress. Don't fight with the Night Empress after failing to flirt with her. Before Blue Lotus could open her mouth to give Baifeng some advice, Shueshua, Lan Lian, and Baifeng all looked at the ribbon where the sun had descended. Seeing this bond, Shueshua trembled with excitement. This bond proved that his daughter had indeed survived under the protection of the Moon Empress. This slender sun ribbon was equivalent to giving Shueshua a reassurance pill. Shueshua didn't know his daughter's current situation. However, he knew that his daughter had attracted the sun at this time because she definitely wanted to help the Radiance Night Empress. Otherwise, the sun wouldn't have its light floating on the surface and no longer emitting outwards. Before Shueshua could see enough of this sun ribbon, he saw a mass of dark red matter sever the sun ribbon at its waist. Chapter 1360. It caused Shueshua to lose his sense of his daughter. Shueshua was immediately enraged, and the sunset bathrobe was draped over him. You fucking dared to cut off my daughter's descending sun chain. You even made me lose my sense of my daughter. How can you be so awesome? Shueshua looked at the sun, but it was not as bright. Instead, it turned into a dark sphere like a solar eclipse. An abnormally thick sun chain descended from the sun toward Shueshua. When the sun chain fell on the dark red substance spat out by the blood sea millstone, it directly incinerated the dark red substance. Shueshua's sun chain burned the dark red substance, allowing the mother of bloodbath's sun chain to descend again. The thick and thin sun chains were far apart, but they echoed each other. The mother of bloodbath's heart palpitated for no reason in the return from faraway manor. Through its communication with the sun, the mother of bloodbath could sense that the other sun chain was of the same origin as itself. In other words, the blessed spirit that had descended that sun chain was likely its family. Looking at the thick sun chain in the distant sky, the mother of bloodbath pursed its lips tightly. Ever since it had gained consciousness, the mother of bloodbath had survived alone in the forest and experienced the law of the jungle and the Fey world. All along, the mother of bloodbath had not had the concept of family. Later, when it learned that little Fays were born from Fey parents, the mother of bloodbath reflected. Why did it not have parents by its side when it was young? Not having parents by its side was also a major reason why the mother of bloodbath was so cold and unsociable. Later, it met Lin Yuan, and he became a ball of warmth in the mother of bloodbath's heart. Because of Lin Yuan, the ball of warmth, the mother of bloodbath slowly integrated into the large group of return from faraway manor. While interacting with Lin Yuan, Lu Jia, and the others, it gained more warm spots of light. The mother of bloodbath once thought that this warmth might be familial love. But now that it saw the thick sun chain in the sky, the mother of bloodbath knew that the warmth in its heart was different from familial love. Familial love could not be replaced, even if they had never met. Relying on the connection between their bloodlines, the mother of bloodbath's heart palpitated and felt a trace of intimacy. However, this sense of intimacy made the mother of bloodbath clench its fists tightly. If the parents were weak little Fays, they would be killed by other Fays before they could gain consciousness. The mother of bloodbath would not blame anything. But now, one of his parents was a heavenly protector. Since his parents were so powerful, why did they abandon him? Upon seeing the mother of bloodbath's tightly clenched fist, Lin Yuan's heart tightened. Lin Yuan, who had lived 2 lives, could easily guess what the mother of bloodbath was thinking. He placed his hand on the mother of bloodbath's fist. The temperature of Lin Yuan's palm made the mother of bloodbath's clenched fist tremble. It was as though the heat from Lin Yuan's palm had traveled up his arm to the mother of bloodbath's heart. At that moment, the mother of bloodbath heard Lin Yuan speak. Mother of bloodbath, do you still remember that the sky corona jade spider had to pay a huge price to breed? If your parents didn't love you, they wouldn't have given birth to you. Lin Yuan's words were a little abrupt and unpleasant to the ears, poking directly at the mother of bloodbath's soft spot. However, Lin Yuan's words were the most effective. The mother of bloodbath held Lin Yuan's palm as though the temperature of Lin Yuan's palm could give it strength. Then, the corona on the mother of bloodbath's head emitted dazzling sunlight. The mother of bloodbath's chain that was connected to the sun wriggled, as though it was greeting the thick sun chain in the distance. The mother of bloodbath was not a gentle person. Since the sun chain had descended, it could have been one of its parents. The mother of bloodbath naturally wanted to find out the reason it had been abandoned back then as a form of explanation. Shueshua was preparing to teach the blood-colored millstone that had severed his child's sun chain a lesson. However, when he saw the slender sun chain wriggling in the sky, Shueshua could not help but tear up again. How much Shueshua had hoped to find his and Yugui's child, and how much he feared that the child would hate him. Shueshua had now become a heavenly protector and the hall master of the heavens' blessed dojo. There were few things in the world that Shueshua could not do. However, the powerful Shueshua could not use his strength to untie the child's heart. Shueshua was afraid that he would not dare to look into the child's resentful eyes even though he had clearly seen his and Yugui's child. Love would make a loving father fearful. Now that the other side had taken the initiative to respond to him, Shueshua's heart could not help but beat faster. Immediately, Shueshua's other eye glowed brightly, and the sunset bathrobe spread out a full 50 nautical miles. The sun chain that was connected to Shueshua quickly wriggled. One moment it was wriggling like a fried dough twist, and the next moment, it was twisting into a ball of string. This thick sun chain seemed to be playing a flipping game, and everyone in the main world who saw this phenomenon was dumbfounded. Many experts who saw the sun chain's transformation thought that Shueshua had lost his mind. However, this did not include Blue Lotus, White Phoenix, or the other hall masters of the Heaven's Blessed Dojo. No one understood Shueshua's loving father better than the hall masters of the Heaven's Blessed Dojo. It was a kind of feeling that one would rather give up their life to fulfill. Blue Lotus and White Phoenix, whose eyes were red, patted Shueshua's shoulders, their eyes filled with blessings and joy for Shueshua. This time, Shueshua finally had the motivation to live on. With something to worry about, Shueshua would no longer treat revenge for Yugui as the main theme of his life. Sister Yugui's descendant had been found, and his heart was as affectionate as Sister Yugui. Under such circumstances, he would choose to take the initiative to respond to Shueshua. That's great. If Sister Yugui could come back to life, it would be even better for the family of three to be reunited. However, the dead could not be resurrected. This was the iron law of nature. This sentence was equally effective for the favored spirits of heaven and earth. The mother of Bloodbath looked at the thick sun chain that responded to it fiercely after it communicated with it. The mother of Bloodbath's heart trembled for no reason. This response was like the warmest water, melting the hard layer of ice that enveloped the mother of Bloodbath's heart. From this thick sun chain's reaction, the mother of Bloodbath knew how much its parents cared about it and how much they cared about it. After all, the emotions it felt from the sun chain that relied on communicating with the sun would not lie. The mother of Bloodbath and Shueshua met tens of thousands of kilometers apart. On the Freedom Federation's sea surface, Uao's face was so gloomy that it was about to drip water. What does the Heaven's Blessed Dojo mean by this? Could it be that the Heaven's Blessed Dojo and the Radiance Federation have formed an alliance and are going to make a move against the Imperial Mermaid race? That shouldn't be the case. The Radiance Federation and the Heaven's Blessed Dojo have no reason to make a move against the Imperial Mermaid race. The Imperial Mermaid race was one of the top 3 races among the Ocean Imperial 8 clans and could completely represent the entire Ocean Imperial clan. Chapter 1361. The Heaven-Blessed Mansion would not be able to gain any benefits by making things difficult for the Imperial Mermaid clan. However, the eclipse-like black sun in the sky would not lie. If he didn't make a move now, he could quickly draw the hatred of Heaven-Blessed Dojo onto himself. If Du Miao saw that things weren't right, he would stop very quickly. Since that was the case, he could only use his true skills. Uao grinned sinisterly when he saw his sacred source life form, the Blood Sea Millstone, locked in a stalemate with the 2 purple demon towers. Night Leaning Moon was far away in the Radiance Federation. She was overestimating her strength by using a sacred source life form to trigger a weather phenomenon. If Night Empress Radiance's true body was here, he might have to be wary if they fought face to face. Both of them were peak experts of the current era, so it was no different from a fool's dream to want to kill the other party from such a distance. Uao stepped on the surface of the sea with his left foot. The surface of the sea instantly turned blood red. The Blood Sea Millstone in the sky rapidly expanded, almost covering half of the sky. With a shake of his body, Uao transformed back into his original form and soared towards the Blood Sea Millstone. Uao bumped into the Blood Ocean Millstone and merged with it. Immediately after, a shark with a rope on it appeared in front of the millstone. The sea of blood converged under the millstone. The shark flicked its tail to pull the millstone, and a large amount of the power of night was sucked into the millstone. Then, under the repeated grinding of the millstone, it turned into dust. The dark red residue left behind by the grinding stone turned into a giant hand covered with black thorns, grabbing towards the purple demon tower. One of the purple demon towers couldn't dodge in time and was grabbed by the dark red giant hand. The giant hand wanted to drag the purple demon tower into the millstone and crush it. The indescribable black substance spurted out from the first 3 floors of the purple demon tower attached to the dark red blood hand. The 2 sides were engaged in a fierce struggle. Night Leaning Moon, who was in the Radiance Imperial Court, was expressionless. The veins on her hand, which was holding the sacred source life form, Dark Sky Prajna, were bulging. He was obviously under a lot of pressure. Just as Night Leaning Moon was about to continue activating the sacred source life form, Dark Sky Wisdom, she acutely sensed a pure and enchanting power of night suddenly enter the night sky. This power of night was pure enough to support the Dark Sky Prajna. Night Leaning Moon tried to get the Dark Sky Prajna to activate the pure and enchanting power of night. The purple demon pagoda was strengthened by the pure power of night and immediately broke free from the dark red bloody hand. Another indescribable black demon flew out from the fourth floor of the purple demon tower, causing Yuao to widen his eyes. He did not understand how Night Leaning Moon's strength had suddenly increased by so much. At this moment, Bai Feng, who was standing beside Shueshua, transformed into her true form. Dense night power flowed into the night sky from her tail feathers. Standing beside Bai Feng, Lan Lian's expression changed slightly when she saw Bai Feng pouring the power of night into the sky. Just like how the Freedom Federation's Du Miao didn't want to provoke the Heaven-Blessed Mansion, the Heaven-Blessed Mansion similarly didn't want to provoke the Freedom Federation as an enemy. Shueshua had triggered the Sunstripe because his child Sunstripe had been cut off by the Blood Sea Millstone. However, Bai Feng's actions were equivalent to helping the Radiance Night Empress. The Freedom Federation prioritized benefits, and they were definitely not pushovers. If the interests of the Freedom Federation were to be touched, the majesties of the Freedom Federation would go completely crazy. However, Lan Lian did not say anything to Bai Feng. The Radiance Moon Empress had allowed Shueqing to successfully awaken the favored spirit bloodline and survive. She had done the Heaven-Blessed Mansion a great favor. No matter how rational Lan Lian was, she could not open her mouth to stop Bai Feng. When Bai Feng saw Lan Lian's expression, she spoke in a rare serious tone. The night sky is now completely covered by the Night Empress power of night. Only the Night Empress can sense it when I pour the power of night into the night sky. As long as the Night Empress doesn't say anything, the Oceanic Species and the Freedom Federation won't know about this. The Night Empress helped Sister Jade Gui and Shueshua before. Otherwise, little Qing might have been taken away by the 5 pages of truth, and Brother Shua might have been killed by the 5 pages of truth. Our goal in going to Radiance is to find the favored spirit that can absorb weather. We don't know what's going on with that little fellow. When the time comes, we will need the help of the Radiance Highnesses. Now that I've helped the Night Empress, it will be easier for us to find the favored spirit in Radiance. When Lan Lian heard Bai Feng's words, she nodded. She had a feeling that the Heaven-Blessed Mansion would form a strong bond with Radiance in the future. On the back of the lava abyssal snake, Du Miao looked up at the purple demon tower in the sky, then at the night sky above him. Du Miao couldn't see anything different with his naked eyes, but his sixth sense felt that the sudden increase in the power of night was a little strange. Through that cooperation, Ji Hao and the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids clan were deeply bound in terms of benefits. Although it was not to the extent that they were bound together for good or ill. However, if the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids were hurt, it wouldn't do him any good. The wounded Imperial Mermaids and Merman clan would definitely be attacked by the Imperial Ray clan. At that time, his plan of using the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids clan to integrate the resources of the sea race would be nothing more than a pipe dream. Since the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids had pulled the hatred of the Blessed Dojo over, then Hui Yao's Night Empress would be dealt with by himself. If Hui Yao's Night Empress dares to cause such a huge disturbance near the Freedom Federation's territorial waters, then don't blame me for letting the boiling lava flow towards Hui Yao. Du Miao's orange hair fluttered without any wind, like a blazing flame. There seemed to be lava flowing in the flames. Du Miao, who was surrounded by flames, chanted softly. Bloom, boiling platycodon. As Du Miao's voice fell, tens of thousands of stars appeared in the dark night sky. However, in the night sky that was enveloped by the power of night, even the sun could be isolated, so how could there be stars? Soon, these objects, which were mistaken as stars by the people of the origin world, rapidly expanded in the sky and finally formed the shape of a flower seed. However, this flower seed did not germinate in the night sky. Instead, after expanding to a certain extent, it blossomed into an extremely dazzling 5-petal flower. The edge of the 5-petal flower was a light yellow, and the closer to the center, the more gorgeous the color. The center was an orange-red color that looked like a flame. These flowers did not have buds, and they seemed to be brewing something. Soon, the core of the flower, which should have grown stamens, formed a huge upside-down volcano crater in the sky. The volcano boiled, and large amounts of scalding orange-red lava flowed down. These flowers just happened to bloom in the sky above the Radiance Federation, and the boiling lava headed straight for the Radiance Federation. If Night Leaning Moon had unleashed her complete sacred source life form, Dark Sky Prajna, and recklessly attacked the Imperial mermaids and mermaids in the Freedom Federation's territorial waters, then, Dumiao's complete sacred source life form, Boiling Platycodon, and the lava falling from the sky was a counterattack against Night Leaning Moon. This lava falling from the sky was like a natural disaster, and the Radiance Federation's ordinary people could not react in time. Even an Emperor stage powerhouse would feel insignificant and helpless in the face of this kind of power. At that moment, the elder on the reclining chair in the Radiance Imperial Court suddenly stood up. He took the walking stick beside the reclining chair and tapped it lightly on the ground. Chapter 1362. A thin branch separated from the reclining chair and drilled into the Radiance Imperial Court. It took root in the Radiance Imperial Court's courtyard. The young branch continued to grow and extend. 10 meters. 100 meters. 1,000 meters. 10,000 meters. 100,000 meters. Finally, this young branch's branches were like dragons, and its leaves were like phoenix feathers. The main trunk was tall and straight, and the golden leaves were lush. This tree covered the entire Radiance land. It became an indestructible protective umbrella in the Radiance Federation's sky during this lava calamity. This tree spanned hundreds of millions of miles under the night sky. It flickered with a dazzling golden radiance and supported the lava that fell from the sky. At the same time, this tree extended tens of thousands of branches toward the sky. The golden phoenix feather-like leaves on the branches wrapped around every bellflower that was spraying lava with the force of lightning. Soon, the golden phoenix feather-like leaves on the branches tore the bellflower into flower mud. Dumiao's face was full of fear as he looked at this towering golden tree that grew out of the radiance. Just as Dumiao was weighing the benefits and whether he should continue to fight, an elderly voice came from this ancient golden tree. The Imperial mermaids and mermaids have attacked the Radiance Federation's people in the territorial waters outside the Raging Waves city because of a large whale fall. The Imperial mermaids and mermaids have openly violated the Radiant Sea Treaty and treated it as nothing. Within a month from today, each of the 8 ocean Imperial clans will send one person to the Radiance Federation to resolve this matter. The sacred source life form, Boiling Bellflower, is at the pinnacle of 10-star. It is indeed very strong to be able to trigger a meteorological phenomenon, but it should not have drawn the meteorological phenomenon to the Radiance Federation. Therefore, the Radiance origin mark was planted in the Boiling Bellflower. This mark can be removed after a year, and you will have to bear the consequences if you forcefully break it. At that moment, the origin world's lifeforms, the various federations, and the various factions finally knew the reason for this world-shaking conflict. Dumiao had already noticed the changes in his sacred source life form, Boiling Bellflower, before the elderly voice had appeared. However, he had not had time to check what the golden mark on the bellflower was. Now that he heard this old man say that the mark was the Radiance origin mark, Dumiao's expression immediately turned ugly. At this moment, an aged voice came from the Freedom Federation's Temple of Freedom. However, compared to the kind and majestic voice from the ancient golden tree, the old voice from the Temple of Liberty was full of shrewdness and scheming. This matter was caused by your Radiance Federation first. Although the Imperial Mermaid clan has a personal grudge with your Radiance Federation in our Freedom Federation's territorial sea, it's still not enough. However, the Radiance Federation is not allowed to make a move in the Freedom Federation's territorial waters. But since Du Miao has also made a move against the Radiance Federation, this matter is considered even. Our 2 states will fight again during the assembly of 10,000 states. Night Leaning Moon's actions against the Imperial mermaids and mermaids in the Freedom Federation's territorial waters were indeed too aggressive and somewhat inappropriate. But after all, it was to settle a grudge. This was completely different from Du Miao using the boiling platycodon to pour lava on the Radiance Federation's 32 major cities. Now, the old voice in the Temple of Liberty was clearly changing the concept. While changing the topic, he did not mention Hui Yuanyin at all. Obviously, he did not care about Du Miao's interests at all. However, the old voice's last sentence hit the nail on the head. The hatred between the Radiance Federation and the Freedom Federation was not just a day or two. 10 years ago, one of the Freedom Federation's lords had died at the hands of the Moon Empress, and she had also paid a huge price for it. She was only left with 3 years of lifespan. The hatred between the two states was already irreconcilable. If the two states were to fight to the death, the entire main world would be destroyed. Therefore, if the two states wanted to fight to the death, the best way was to have the Federation's younger generation, which was the Radiance Envoys, form a 5-member team to compete at the Assembly of 10,000 States. A neutral and peaceful "okay" came from the giant golden tree, which was considered to have acknowledged the voice that came from the Temple of Liberty. At that moment, Night Leaning Moon and UAO stopped fighting. At that moment, the Freedom Federation's voice sounded again. Since we are going to decide the winner at the Assembly of 10,000 States, why don't we add some stakes? If the Radiance Federation loses, I want the Radiance Federation to build a star web in our Freedom Federation. Upon hearing the opposite voice, the neutral and peaceful voice from the ancient golden tree sounded again. If the Freedom Federation loses, the Radiance Federation wants a complete Class 5 Creation Master path in the Freedom Federation. When the Freedom Federation's elder heard this, he agreed without any hesitation. The word "okay" seemed to be filled with endless calculations. It was as though the Freedom Federation had absolute confidence that they would not lose this competition. This battle between the top experts of the current era, which relied on a complete sacred source life form, shocked all living beings in the main world. It also shocked those factions that did not have a complete sacred source life form. It made those factions understand the importance of a complete sacred source life form. However, the shock of this duel was far less exciting than the shock of the final bet. The Star Web was the specialty of the Radiance Federation, and it was something that only the Radiance Federation had. The Star Web was the product of 3 sacred source life forms. It was an innovation and coincidence. Among the 3 sacred source life forms, there was a complete sacred source life form. If the Freedom Federation wanted to bet on the Radiance Federation's Star Web, it was equivalent to betting on the Radiance Federation's second world. It could be said that any federation with the Star Web would be able to develop extremely quickly. However, the Freedom Federation's bet was equally shocking. The Memory Stone was one of the Freedom Federation's cornerstones. When an expert died, the Memory Stone could make a copy of the expert's complete legacy. The Freedom Federation's Memory Stone had always been sealing a Class 5 Creation Master's complete legacy. After releasing the entire inheritance, the memory within the Memory Stone would disappear. It could be said that this bet was equivalent to betting on the Freedom Federation's Class 5 Creation Master quota. When comparing the Class 5 Creation Master and the Star Web, it was hard to say which was more precious. One benefited everyone in the Federation, while the other benefited the Federation's experts. No matter what, this bet was enough to shock the world. It seemed like the 10,000 Nations Conference in 2 years would definitely have an intense confrontation. After all, neither federation could afford to lose such a bet. Everything returned to peace, and the power of night faded. The sky was still dusk, and the early spring wind was still warm. However, UAO and the Imperial Mermaid race's members had abnormally serious expressions. At that moment, UAO was confused. The Radiance Federation's Night Empress was the one who made the first move against the Imperial Mermaid race. How did it become the Imperial Mermaid race breaking the Radiant Sea Treaty? UAO looked at the blood-armored man who looked similar to him and asked, "Second brother, who did our race give the fief closest to the Radiance Federation's sea region to?" The blood-armored man could not help but ask, "Second brother, who did our race give the fief closest to the Radiance Federation's sea region to?" The blood-armored man could not help but be unable to answer. End of this chapter. Chapter 1363. As one of the top 3 clans among the 8 clans of the Sea Empire, the Imperial Mermaid clan had plenty of resources. There was absolutely no need to divide the Da Alliance's territorial waters. The man in blood-red armor had always been in charge of distributing territory to the clan members. He did not remember distributing territories near the Radiant's territorial sea to any of his clansmen. Moreover, the Imperial Mermaid clan had recently relocated to the vicinity of the Freedom Federation's territorial waters, and the vast majority of their clansmen had already been recalled. There shouldn't be many clansmen left outside. Suddenly, the blood-armored man, Yu Ba, thought of his third sister, Yu Mang. Sharkmang had always been spoiled by Big Brother. This time, the mermaid said that it did not want to come back, and Big Brother agreed without even thinking about it. Back then, when the mermaid left the tribe, he did not allocate any territory to it. As the eldest princess of the Imperial Mermaid clan, the mermaid could go anywhere in the Imperial Mermaid clan's territory. Could it be that the mermaid Ray had chosen the sea region near the Radiance Federation as its territorial sea and had killed the Radiance Federation's people for some reason? Based on Tyrant Mermaid's understanding of Mermaid Mang would very likely do something like breaking the Hui-Hai Treaty behind their backs in the face of great benefits. Seeing that the expression on Yu Ba's face was getting uglier and uglier, Yuao couldn't help but ask in a deep voice. Second brother, if you think of anything, just say it. If Hui Yao is trying to put the blame on our Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids clan, then we, the 8 clans of the Ocean Empire, will definitely teach him a lesson. Yu Ba shook his head when he heard this. If Hui Yao was really trying to pin the blame on the Imperial Mermaid clan, even if many of the 8 clans of the Sea Monarch 8 clans had conflicts with the Imperial Mermaid clan, the Imperial Mermaid clan would not be able to do anything about it. Due to the prestige of the Sea tribe and the overall benefits, they would definitely help the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids clan. However, if the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids were really in the wrong first, the Radiance faction would have something to use against them. Then this matter would be difficult. The other 6 Sea Emperors who went with them were hard to say. The Sea Emperor of the Royal Ray clan was bound to take advantage of this opportunity to suppress the Royal Mermaids and Mermaids clan. Eventually, Yu Ba told Yuao about his speculation. Hearing Yu Ba's words, Yuao's expression changed drastically. Yuao knew that Yu Ba's words were probably the truth of this matter. However, Hui Yao was a little too domineering. Was there a need to make such a big fuss over the deaths of just a few ordinary people? It seemed like this trip to the Radiance sect was a little tricky. Just as Yuao was thinking about whether he should head to the Radiance sect personally, Yu Ba spoke up seriously. Big brother, the Imperial Mermaid clan is going to relocate. At this point, Tyrant Shark glanced at Du Miao and continued. The cooperation with the Freedom Federation can't be done without Big Brother. I'll go with the Radiance Federation. As one of the 3 major federations, the Radiance Federation still has to have the magnanimity that it should have. It won't be possible for all of them to make a move to make me stay. Hearing Mermaid Tyrant, Mermaid Ao nodded. Although Yuao was not willing to let Yu Ba take the risk, Yu Ba was undoubtedly the most suitable candidate. Yuao pointed at the blood-colored short-haired youth beside him and said, Dong, you go with your second uncle. Remember to listen to your second uncle on the way. The crimson-haired youth said hurriedly. Father, don't worry. If second uncle tells me to go east, I will definitely not go west. Hearing Yudong's words, Yuao nodded in satisfaction. However, Yu Ba's brows furrowed. Big Brother pushed Dong out at this time to increase Jiao Dong's prestige in the Imperial Mermaid clan by using this trip to the Radiance Federation. Big Brother wants to help Yu Dong up. It seems like Big Brother has not seen clearly what kind of person his son, Yu Dong, is. He is obedient and sensible in front of you, but he is a little tyrant when he goes out. Bring Yu Dong to the Radiance Federation and hope that Yu Dong will not cause trouble. Usually, Yu Dong would face the members of the other 7 clans. If he caused trouble, where would the Imperial Mermaid clan's face be? However, the people on the Radiance Federation's side would not give face to the Imperial Mermaid clan. Since Big Brother had pushed Yu Dong out, Yu Ba had no other choice. It seemed like he had to remind Yudong along the way and let him control his temper. The decree that the Radiance Federation had just issued was not only targeted at the Imperial Mermaid clan but also the other 7 clans. At that moment, apart from the Imperial Mermaid clan, the other 7 clans each had their own thoughts. They were thinking about how to discuss the Radiant Sea Treaty when they went to the Radiance Federation. At present, everyone in the Radiance Federation was looking up at that giant golden tree that was slowly shrinking and finally disappearing. Lin Yuan's current mood was very complicated. On one hand, this battle between the majesties had made Lin Yuan understand how weak he was. Only beings under the celestial phenomenon level could have a deep understanding of the power of a celestial phenomenon. If a sacred source life form was not complete, there would always be a big gap between it and the current world's pinnacle experts. His sacred source life form, Sacred Sword-wielding Queen, was only a 3-star sacred source life form. It would still take some time for it to reach 4 stars. Lin Yuan really did not know when his sacred source life form, Sacred Sword-wielding Queen, would become a complete sacred source life form. Fortunately, Lin Yuan, who had hoarded so many Law Origin crystals, was very confident. However, the Law Origin crystals in Lin Yuan's hands would be used up sooner or later. Lin Yuan still needed to find more Law Origin crystals in the future. To a certain extent, this disturbance had deepened Lin Yuan's determination to develop the swamp world and deepen the cooperation with the big cities. On the other hand, the neutral voice that had just come from the giant tree had deepened Lin Yuan's sense of belonging to the Radiance Federation. After all, the mermaid light of the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids clan attacked Ji Hao, Lu Jie, and Anha, the 3 disciples of His Holiness. However, Biyao did not mention His Holiness's disciple when dealing with this matter. He only said that they were people of the Radiance sect. This meant that the High Lords had always been silently protecting every living being in Biyao, including the ordinary people. This was Biyao's bearing. This was the integrity of His Majesty. This was a responsibility that could not be shouldered. It was also the Radiance Federation's promise to every Radiance Federation citizen. Such a radiance was worth protecting with all his might. The Mother of Bloodbath took a deep look at the thick sun chain that was still churning endlessly. He severed the connection between himself and the sun. Since they already knew each other, the Mother of Bloodbath was prepared to wait for its relatives to find it. After experiencing this storm and eating Lu Jie's delicacies, Lin Yuan had a good sleep in the mansion. After waking up, he acutely realized that the power of faith in his shrine had not increased much. Lin Yuan felt a little strange about this. He immediately logged onto Star Web and looked at its forums and posts. Lin Yuan immediately understood what was going on. There were 3 main points of discussion in Star Web's posts and forums. The first was the anomaly in yesterday's weather. The second was the dispute between the Radiance Federation and the Freedom Federation. The third was the shocking bet that would be carried out at the 10,000 Nations Conference in 2 years. The popularity of these 3 matters was too great. It was inevitable that the popularity of any other matter would be absorbed by these 3 matters. End of this chapter. Chapter 1364. He knew that even if he used his identity as the Moon Empress disciple to get the Sky City Lord to give up on the Miao family's beast creation garden, it would still be useless. He had to wait for these 3 matters to die down before he could reveal the identity of the Moon Empress disciple. Only then would the Star Web masses recall the conflict between the Miao family's beast creation garden and Sky City, allowing them to snatch back the traffic that had been split. However, this matter couldn't be dragged on for too long. If it was dragged on for too long, it would lose its original heat. Therefore, he planned to wait a few days. Before he completely dealt with the Radiance Federation's matters and headed to the Divine Wood Federation, he would fulfill his promise to the Miao family's beast creation garden. However, he did not know that the Miao family's beast creation garden no longer wanted him to help. Originally, Miao Zhenshan's mood was getting more and more irritable by the day. Miao Zhenshan, who was extremely concerned about his and the Miao family's reputation in the beast creation garden, seemed to be possessed every day. Despite knowing that he was being scolded, he still went to check the Star Web posts and forums. Miao Zhanshan got up early in the morning and logged into Star Web out of habit. After logging in, Miao Zhanshan froze. What was going on? Could it be that he was seeing things? Miao Zhanshan flipped through tens of pages and realized that there was no mention of the Miao family's beast creation garden. Miao Zhanshan quickly understood that the heat had been sucked away by what happened last night. The heat from last night's incident won't die down anytime soon. During this period of time, the Miao family's beast creation garden was rarely mentioned. It could be said that the popularity of this shocking bet had helped the Miao family's beast creation garden take a bullet. Before Miao Zhanshan could be happy for long, he recalled that Lin Yuan had promised to help. With Lin Yuan's help, wouldn't this matter be stirred up again? Miao Zhanshan really wanted to call Lin Yuan and tell him that he didn't need to help anymore. However, Miao Zhanshan only dared to think about it in his heart. No matter what, he did not dare to say it out loud. If this matter was revealed, it would mean that the Miao family was toying with the Moon Empress disciple. The Moon Empress disciple was infuriated and made things difficult for the Miao clan's beast creation garden. The Miao family's beast creation garden would only end up worse. He opened the group chat and found that Gu Lang and Zhong Zhe had Ed Lu Jia to ask about yesterday's situation. Night Leaning Moon was the one who started the disturbance yesterday. Zhong Zhe, Gu Lang's master, had gone to the Radiance Imperial Court to participate in the Imperial Court's meeting early in the morning. Supreme Chef and Bamboo Monarch were also confused about what happened yesterday. Zhong Zhe and Gu Lang wanted to understand the situation, so asking Lu Jia was the best channel. Before Lin Yuan could speak in the group chat, he found that Lu Jia had already replied to Zhong Zhe and Gu Lang's messages. Lu Jia, this matter was indeed caused by the members of the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids clan in the waters of Stormy Waves City. Lu Jia, Lin Yuan and I were outside Raging Waves City at that time, but I didn't have time to tell Master about this, so I don't know the specifics. Hearing Lu Jia's reply, Long Tao, Li Xian, Sun Ningxiang, and the others popped their heads out. Because of Lin Yuan, everyone had gathered in the group and formed a faction. In addition to the gathering at Zhong Zhe's place, everyone had become friends. Zhong Zhe and Gu Lang chatted in the group, not avoiding Long Tao, Li Xian, and Sun Ningxiang. When it came to the topic of the disciples of His Holiness, Long Tao, Li Xian, and Sun Ningxiang all knew how to avoid arousing suspicion. Under normal circumstances, Long Tao, Li Xian, and Sun Ningxiang would not participate in such a topic. But now that it involved Lin Yuan and Lu Jia's safety, Long Tao, Li Xian, and Sun Ningxiang could not help it. Seeing the concern from his friends, Lin Yuan's face revealed a bright smile. Lin Yuan, thank you for your concern, everyone. Both of us are fine. Lin Yuan, that's right, where did Gao Feng go? Previously, Gao Feng was the most talkative in the group. Basically, the Dragon King in the group was Gao Feng. Every day, he would call the wind and summon the rain, disinfect the world, and be a superstar. But in the past week or two, Gao Feng almost did not send any messages in the group. Even if he did send messages, he would most likely send them at night. Lin Yuan Gao Feng, but after waiting for a long time, Gao Feng still did not reply. At that moment, Sun Ningxiang sent a message. Sun Ningxiang, Lin Yuan, Grandma, and I will reach the royal capital tomorrow. My grandma has been thanking you along the way. Sun Ningxiang, do you have time tomorrow? I have something to talk to you about. Lin Yuan heard this and quickly replied. Lin Yuan, bring Grandma over. I will definitely have time. Lin Yuan, I will send you my address. You can come over directly. Lin Yuan, didn't you always praise Lu Jia's cooking in the group? Tell Lu Jia what you want to eat. Lin Yuan was not overly prepared for Sun Ningxiang's arrival. Lin Yuan and Sun Ningxiang had known each other for a long time and had eaten together in private. There was no need to be so polite. When Sun Ningxiang saw Lin Yuan's reply, her expression was like the beautiful April of the human world. Lu Chan, who was beside Sun Ningxiang, saw Sun Ningxiang's expression and sighed softly. Lin Yuan had something to talk to Long Tao and Li Xian about. This matter was rather complicated and not suitable to be discussed in the group. Lin Yuan was prepared to call Long Tao and Li Xian after ending the group chat. At that moment, Gao Feng, who had been missing, appeared. Gao Feng, brothers, the Imperial Mermaid clan is simply too despicable. Gao Feng, I heard from my master that Lin Yuan, Lu Jia, and he almost died in the hands of a female expert of the Imperial Mermaid clan. Fortunately, you two are fine. Gao Feng, if something happened to you two, how would the brothers live? Gao Feng, that's right, I have been learning from master during this period. I will only be released to rest at night. Gao Feng, master is attending the Imperial Court conference today, so I have some free time. If you guys want to find me next time, just give me a call. Otherwise, if you at me in the group, I might not be able to see you every time. When Gao Feng suddenly appeared, Lin Yuan sent a private message to Gao Feng. He asked Gao Feng to take over the Blissful Sea tribe's territory in Raging Waves City and the distant islands outside of Raging Waves City. Lin Yuan and Gao Feng had established a new faction together, and they each had 50% of the faction's shares. They were both the owners of this faction. Compared to Lin Yuan taking over the Blissful Sea tribe and expanding the business, it was more suitable for Gao Feng to manage the Blissful Sea tribe. When Gao Feng saw Lin Yuan's message, he immediately thought that Lin Yuan might be Sky City's city lord. Lin Yuan did not want to hide it from Gao Feng. Lin Yuan and Gao Feng had become friends much earlier than Li Xian and Long Tao. Although Lin Yuan and Long Tao had exchanged phone numbers a long time ago, Long Tao and Lin Yuan had not interacted much at that time. Along the way, Gao Feng had helped Lin Yuan a lot. Without Gao Feng, Lin Yuan would not have been able to obtain young elemental shellfish and complete the initial resource accumulation. It was because of the initial resource accumulation that Lin Yuan was able to snowball more and more resources. It was all thanks to Gao Feng that Lin Yuan could have the foundation of Sky City, the floating island whale. Chapter 1365. At the Nix assembly, when Gao Feng didn't know his identity, he stood on Miao Zhuo's side without hesitation. One must know that the difference between the Gao family and the Miao family, who were both top forces, was huge. The Miao family was one of the top factions in the Beast Creation Garden, while the Gao family was ranked last. If Gao Feng stood on his side, he would have to bear the risk for the family. In times of danger, it was enough to see a person clearly. At that time, Lin Yuan recognized him as a brother. Gao Feng was rather shocked to find out that Lin Yuan was the Sky City Lord, but he also felt that it was only natural. After all, Gao Feng had seen too many miracles. Since Lin Yuan had told him this information, Gao Feng naturally wouldn't leak it out. Gao Feng had always been very grateful to Lin Yuan. Without Lin Yuan and Lu Jia, he would never have become His Holiness disciple. After the private chat with Gao Feng, Lin Yuan called Long Tao. The phone rang less than 3 times before Long Tao picked it up. Long Tao was a little surprised that Lin Yuan had called him. After all, everyone had just chatted in the group. Could it be that Lin Yuan wanted to ask about the Royal Armored Martial Divine Insects? During this period of time, plenty of alien insects comparable to Myth Breed Phase had flown out of the Class 4 alien insect dimensional rifts controlled by the Coiling Dragon Valley. However, none of these insects were Imperial Armored Martial God insects. Long Tao had no good way to deal with it. At that moment, Long Tao heard Lin Yuan speak. Big Brother Dragon, your Coiled Dragon Valley has always nurtured dragon species phase. I wonder if Big Brother Dragon knows of any dragon species phase that are easy to rear and produce livers? Long Tao was startled by Lin Yuan's words. Lin Yuan's question really hit Long Tao. It was true that the Coiled Dragon Valley had always focused on nurturing dragon species phase. However, the Coiled Dragon Valley rarely traded in dragon-type spirit materials. Even if some dragon species spiritual ingredients leaked out, it was because these dragon species phase could not be saved by the creation masters, so they were helplessly decomposed. However, based on Lin Yuan's question, Long Tao knew that Lin Yuan should need the livers of dragon species phase. Long Tao didn't answer Lin Yuan directly and asked him instead. Brother Yuan, do you have any requirements for the dragon species phase bloodline that provides the liver? Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan considered the golden wing's current strength. I don't have a high requirement for bloodlines. As long as the dragon species phase are pure flood dragons or dinosaurs, it will be fine. Lin Yuan's words made Long Tao choke. Wasn't this requirement high enough? A king-class expert's contracted dragon species phase bloodline purity was at most at the level of a purebred flood dragon or a purebred dinosaur. If he wanted to raise purebred WYRM species and purebred dinosaur species phase and let them provide their livers, he would be able to do so. Long Tao couldn't imagine how much resources it would cost. Putting aside the meals, purifying a dragon species phase bloodline would require a lot of creation master resources. Most importantly, these dragon species phase were not bred to be sold to spirit chi professionals, but to be taken away. After the liver was removed, the dragon species phase were bound to die. Dead dragon species phase could only be disassembled and sold as spiritual ingredients. Even if the price of dragon species spiritual ingredients on the market was on the high side, he would never be able to recover his capital. Long Tao really knew which dragon species Fei was more suitable to be raised between a pure flood dragon and a dinosaur. Furthermore, this dragon species Fei was relatively large, so its liver wouldn't be small. Long Tao said to Lin Yuan. Younger brother Lin, among the purebred dinosaur Feis, there is a Fei called the hook-toothed behemoth dragon. The hook-toothed behemoth dragon is very easy to raise, and it grows very quickly. As long as there is a large amount of meat, it will be able to mature when it reaches the gold rank. A behemoth dragon is nearly 20 meters long and 9 meters tall. Its liver weighs at least 200 kilograms. The hook-toothed giant beast dragon has the bloodline of the ancient Tyrannosaurus. It is considered rather ferocious among the purebred dinosaur phase. The liver controls emotions. The ferocious dinosaur phase livers usually have stronger medicinal properties, so they are sold at a higher price in the spiritual ingredient market. Young brother Lin, if you want to choose a purebred dinosaur Fei for its liver, the hook-toothed giant beast dragon is more suitable. Our coiling dragon valley has a behemoth dragon with hooked teeth. Not long ago, the curly-tusked behemoth dragon in coiling dragon valley died. Before it died, it left behind 6 dragon eggs. These 6 dragon eggs should have the potential to become breeding dragons. Lin Yuan's eyes lit up. Among the dragon species Feis, flood dragon species Feis were clean. Dinosaur Feis were in heat their entire lives and would leave behind many descendants. However, dinosaur Feis that were in heat for their entire lives would usually lay eggs with the best genes before they died. As a top faction, coiling Dragon Valley's choice of dragon quality was understandable. Therefore, the genes of the hook-toothed behemoth dragon in these 6 eggs must be very outstanding. He had decided to eat the hook-toothed behemoth dragon's liver in the early stages. Lin Yuan said to Long Tao. Big brother dragon, you said before that you wanted to establish your own emerging force to practice. Why don't we work together to nurture a rag-toothed behemoth dragon? Hearing that, Long Tao's eyes suddenly lit up. Long Tao didn't expect that Lin Yuan would take the initiative to bring him along. This was Long Tao's chance. Long Tao agreed immediately and said, "It will naturally be good if we can establish a rising faction. Moreover, it will be a rising faction established together with Brother Lin. I can only provide 1 Class 4 Creation Master and 5 Class 3 Creation Masters to nurture the hook-toothed behemoth dragon. After the hook-toothed behemoth dragon's liver is extracted, carefully divide the other parts of its body. The faction's function can be set on the dragon species' spiritual ingredients. I have experience in nurturing dragon species phase. Just leave the management, feeding, liver extraction, division, and sale to me." Long Tao's words were very open and straightforward. He spoke of his difficulties and everything he could do for the faction. Lin Yuan felt very comfortable discussing a collaboration with Long Tao. Lin Yuan said, "Big brother dragon, I will provide the creation master resources. I will have to trouble Big brother dragon with the other aspects." Long Tao was stunned by Lin Yuan's attitude that he didn't care about the creation master resources. It could be said that he was only putting in a bit of effort to establish a faction with Lin Yuan. Since Long Tao and Lin Yuan were working together, he could not take advantage of Lin Yuan for free. Therefore, he said, since that is the case, you will take 70% of the rising faction's shares, and I will take 30%. Long Tao spoke sincerely, but when Lin Yuan heard Long Tao's words, he immediately said, Big Brother Dragon, since we are establishing the faction together, why don't we each take 50% of the shares? In the future, my demand for the dragon liver's quality will only increase. The faction will need Big Brother Dragon's help. After Lin Yuan spoke, Long Tao still insisted on only taking 30%. Chapter 1366. In the end, it was Lin Yuan who spoke. How about this, Big Brother Long? In the future, when I need dragon-type spiritual materials, I'll just take them from the faction. I might need a lot of dragon-type spiritual materials in the future. If we each take 50% of the shares, I might even be the one taking advantage of Big Brother Long. Long Tao only gave up after hearing Lin Yuan's words. After hanging up the phone, Long Tao hurried to prepare for the establishment of the force. Lin Yuan continued to be a hands-off boss, just like when he had established the faction with Gao Feng. After dealing with the dragon liver, all that was left was the phoenix blood. However, phoenix blood was not as easy to deal with as dragon liver. This was because he did not want to casually obtain phoenix blood from some one phoenix species phase. Instead, he wanted to obtain it from the main phoenix-type Fae. In fact, it was not that Lin Yuan had not thought of providing Gray with a main dragon species phase liver. However, he really could not afford to nurture a large number of main dragon species phase for their livers. According to his current situation, he had no choice but to lower his expectations. Extracting phoenix blood was different from extracting essence blood. It would not cause too much harm to the main phoenix-type Fae. At most, the main phoenix-type Fae would be weakened for a period of time if too much phoenix blood was extracted. Therefore, it was possible for him to obtain the main phoenix species phase blood. As for the channel to obtain the main phoenix species phase blood, he could only think of Li Yun bird cage. Previously, he had traded a bunch of golden lotus brocade plants with Li Yun avian niche and maintained a friendly relationship with her. It was also because of this transaction that Li Xian was chosen as the young patriarch among the many Li Yun Niaokang of the younger generation. If he wanted to trade the phoenix blood with Li Yun avian cage, he would not contact her directly. Lin Yuan planned to find Li Xian as a middleman and let him talk to the elders who had main phoenix species phase. Lin Yuan called Li Xian. After the call was connected, Lin Yuan didn't bother to exchange pleasantries with Li Xian. Brother Li, I need your help. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Li Xian quickly replied enthusiastically. Brother Lin, if there's anything you need help with, just tell me. If I can do it, I'll do it immediately. If I can't do it, I'll find a way to create the conditions. Li Xian had always been grateful to Lin Yuan. If it wasn't for Lin Yuan, Li Xian would have had to make a move on his siblings in order to become Li Yun Niaokan's young family head. 2 years ago, Li Xian's younger siblings had grown up to 15 or 16 years old. He wanted to seize power from Li Xian, both openly and secretly. Li Xian was very clear about this, but he had always been hesitant about whether or not he should do anything. Just as Li Xian couldn't take it anymore and was about to defend his position in the clan, Lin Yuan's appearance made the clan's elders' council make a decision. So that Li Xian wouldn't have to act against his sisters-in-law anymore. Li Xian had always believed that Lin Yuan had not only helped him raise his status in the clan but had also redeemed his conscience. Given Lin Yuan's status, Li Xian could not think of anything that he could repay Lin Yuan for. Now that Lin Yuan had taken the initiative to seek his help, he finally had a chance. Upon hearing Li Xian's words, Lin Yuan replied with a smile. Brother Li, there should be quite a number of main phoenix-type Fays in your dawn cloud bird nest, right? Li Xian didn't know why Lin Yuan would ask this. However, since Lin Yuan had asked, Li Xian answered truthfully. The basic qualification for our dawn cloud bird nest to join the Elders' Council is to have a main phoenix-type fae. There are over 40 people in the Elders' Council, and there should be at least 50 main phoenix-type fays. Upon hearing Li Xian's words, Lin Yuan was delighted. With 50 main phoenix-type fays providing phoenix blood, it would be enough for the golden wing to grow into a myth breed. As long as he could reach an agreement with Dawn Cloud Bird Nest, he wouldn't need to worry about the source of the main phoenix-type fae's blood for a long time. It was really not a bad idea to make a public announcement. It was worth it. After all, one could save the book and read it offline. Brotherly, I want to ask for your help this time. I need a large amount of main phoenix-type fae's blood from the fays of your Dawn Cloud Bird Nest's elders. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Li Xian's throat moved, and he swallowed his saliva violently. For a moment, he didn't know how to respond. It could be said that Lin Yuan's request had frightened Li Xian. Li Xian couldn't imagine if he told the Elders' Council to let out the blood of his main phoenix-type fae. What would the Elders' Council's expression be like? He might even lose his position as the young patriarch. However, he had just told Lin Yuan to do it immediately if he could. If he couldn't, he would think of ways to create the conditions to do it. This caused Li Xian to feel awkward. Lin Yuan did not let Li Xian feel awkward for too long. After Lin Yuan said that, he immediately said, "That's right. Big brotherly, you should need the Phoenix Nirvana flower to cultivate a Phoenix-type fae, right? If I say that I can provide a Phoenix Nirvana flower for those main Phoenix-type fays every time they collect their blood, I wonder if Big Brotherly can use this condition to negotiate with the Elder Council." Upon hearing that, Li Xian finally heaved a sigh of relief. Right now, in the Dawn Cloud Bird Nest, the elders were fighting fiercely over what spirit materials they were fighting over. Without a doubt, it was the Phoenix Nirvana flower. The Nirvana Phoenix flower was a plant fae that could activate a Phoenix species fae's bloodline to a large extent. The Phoenix Nirvana flower's effect was similar to the Dragon's Mouth Orchid, which could enhance the bloodline of dragon species faes. However, compared to the Dragon Snake Orchid, the Nirvana Phoenix flower was undoubtedly more difficult to cultivate. If the Nirvana Phoenix flower wanted to reach a certain level of quality, just like the Dragon Snake Orchid, it needed pure spirit energy. However, compared to the Dragon Snake Orchid, the Black Phoenix flower required more fire elemental energy. As a result, the price of the Nirvana Phoenix flower was 1.5 times that of the Dragon's Mouth Orchid. If Lin Yuan could take out the Phoenix Nirvana flower, the elders in the clan would be willing to sacrifice their main Phoenix species fae bloodline. They would be very willing to trade with him. Before Li Xian could agree, he heard Lin Yuan say, "Don't worry. Big brotherly, if you don't have enough epic Phoenix Nirvana flowers, I still have heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls that you can use to trade." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Li Xian hurriedly replied, "Brother Lin, the Nirvana Phoenix flower is enough. I'm confident that I can convince the elders in the clan. I'll be able to reply to Brother Lin soon." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan nodded. Lin Yuan currently did not have the Phoenix Nirvana flower. Similar to the Dragon Snake Orchid, the Phoenix Nirvana flower rarely appeared on the market and was extremely difficult to buy. Lin Yuan had the confidence to take out a large number of Phoenix Nirvana flowers to trade with the Dawn Cloud Bird Nest's elders because he had gone to the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden's underground treasury previously. Lin Yuan had found dozens of Phoenix Nirvana flowers in the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden's treasury. Although most of these Phoenix Nirvana flowers had not reached epic, Lin Yuan did not mind. As long as he used this opportunity to help the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden to obtain those Phoenix Nirvana flowers. Lin Yuan could easily raise these Phoenix Nirvana flowers' quality to epic. He could even pick some high-quality ones and raise them to legend. ABC. Chapter 1367. The Nirvana Phoenix flower was planted in the Spirit Lock spatial zone. If the roots of the Nirvana Phoenix flower were not injured, new Nirvana Phoenix flowers could be grown very quickly. After hanging up the phone, Li Xian took the initiative to convene the elders for the first time as the young family head. To put it bluntly, the elders had chosen Li Xian as the young patriarch because they had taken a fancy to his relationship with Lin Yuan. The younger generation members that the elders supported were different, and their interests were intertwined. Even though Li Xian was now the young family head, he still could not get the approval of all the elders. Li Xian planned to take this opportunity to completely build a cooperative relationship with the elders. Ever since he had established a faction with Lin Yuan, Zhongzhe, Gu Lang, and the others, Li Xian's position in the clan had become more stable. Using this matter, Li Xian felt that his reputation in Liyun bird niche should be the #1 person under the clan head. This time, it was Lin Yuan who had asked for his help, but Li Xian knew that he owed Lin Yuan even more. If Lin Yuan only needed the blood of a main phoenix species Fae, he just needed to take the Nirvana phoenix flower and post an exchange on Star Web. Those experts with main phoenix species Faes would definitely be willing to exchange. Apart from this exchange itself, Lin Yuan's continuous provision of Nirvana phoenix flowers to Liyun bird niche. It was equivalent to taking the initiative to help Liyun bird niche increase its strength and strengthen its foundation. Li Xian planned to tell all the elders of Liyun Niaocan about this. Let the entire Liyun bird niche admire Lin Yuan's kindness. On this day, Lin Yuan sorted out the harvest in Shocking Waves City. As a pinnacle immortal sea emperor, the mother of bloodbath had absorbed the blood energy in its body after its death. It could no longer let Red Thorn control it through the tongue of relinquish. There were still plenty of spiritual materials left behind. Among them, the relatively intact shark skin could be left for when you to make a few sets of clothes. The shark skin was soft and weightless, but it had extremely strong defensive properties. In addition, the reverse scales on the skin could reduce wind resistance and severely injure the opponent when colliding with the reverse scales. After the shark Mang died, Lin Yuan also obtained an object that looked like a figurine from its body. Lin Yuan knew that this might be what his master, the Moon Empress, had mentioned before, the immortal body in the undying species Fae. Let me interrupt, the app that I've been using recently supports both Android and Apple phones. The immortal body was essentially a transformation of willpower runes. The willpower rune, law crystal, world crystal, and immortal body were all related to the Fae's quality. When Lin Yuan had obtained the immortal body, he had noticed that the princess in his soul spirit was throbbing. It was as if he had seen a rare treasure. However, when the princess saw the immortal body, she was not as impatient as she was when she saw the world crystal. Lin Yuan communicated with the princess through their souls and knew that she was unable to absorb the immortal body before the growth period. The growth period referred to the sacred source lifeform stage from 7 to 9 stars. It seemed like the immortal body in the industrial mermaid's body was another immovable property, and Lin Yuan needed to store it for a period of time. Mermaid Mang's undying body contained a part of his soul. Through Morbius' silver spirit-locked remembrance soul whale, Lin Yuan was fully capable of condensing Shark Mang's soul from its immortal body. However, Lin Yuan obviously would not do so. In fact, ever since he had obtained the remembrance soul whale, he had wondered if he could resurrect his parents. But his parents were humans, and not only were their souls not strong enough. After death, their souls would easily dissipate. Lin Yuan knew that his parents had died in the alien insect dimensional rift, and their bodies had probably been torn to pieces by the alien insects. The only things left behind by his parents were the 2 spirit guard badges and the blood-stained letter. The 2 spirit guard badges and the blood-stained letter were like Lin Yuan's entrustment. Looking at the 2 badges and the letter, Lin Yuan could always think of his parents. It was as if his parents were still by his side. For the first time, Lin Yuan felt timid and did not dare to let the remembrance soul whale examine the 2 badges and the letter. Even though Lin Yuan already had an answer in his heart, sometimes people like to lie to themselves. He hoped for a fluke. After thinking about it again and again, Lin Yuan, who had gathered his courage countless times, still decided to take out the 2 spirit guard badges and the blood-stained letter that his parents had left behind. He nervously summoned the remembrance soul whale and carefully placed the 2 badges and the letter in front of the remembrance soul whale. In the end, the answer was as cold as Lin Yuan had expected. Yesterday's battle with the High Lords and the words that came from the giant golden tree made Lin Yuan understand more deeply the meaning of radiance. Now that he looked at the two spirit guard badges, Lin Yuan suddenly understood why his parents had known the danger back then. They had still left him and Chu Ci at home and rushed to that battle to uphold the responsibility of radiance. When Lin Yuan had first received the two spirit guard badges, he had been puzzled. But now, Lin Yuan completely understood. This was because he and the Moon Empress had chosen to embark on the same path as his parents. Lin Yuan placed the two badges on his chest with longing and looked at the blood-stained letter for the whole night. At that moment, Lin Yuan was more like a youth who had just turned 18 years old. The morning sun shone through the window on Lin Yuan, who had not slept for the whole night. Looking at the morning light, Lin Yuan put away the two badges and the blood-stained letter as if they were treasures. Lin Yuan opened the door and went downstairs to see Lu Jia preparing small wontons. With a sniff, Lin Yuan immediately confirmed that Lu Jia's small wontons were filled with his favorite pork and green bamboo shoots. Lu Jia knew that Sun Ningxiang would bring her grandmother to visit the mansion in a while. Previously, Lu Jia had specifically asked Sun Ningxiang in the group what she wanted to eat. Lu Jia, who had just finished washing the dishes, began to prepare lunch in the kitchen. Lin Yuan, who was sitting on the water rhinoceros leather sofa, looked at the red sandalwood longevity fish tank and suddenly found that it was a little small. Or rather, the 3 Mountain River Eternal Life carps and the 99.5 Fortune Ranches in the red sandalwood longevity fish tank had all grown up. It just so happened that the hidden Wirm lake was completed. The ice spirit siphon goldfish that Lin Yuan had specially bred for Blackie's exclusive skill and had awakened its dragon species bloodline were all placed in the hidden Wirm lake. The angelfish of bliss was very docile and would not attack the spirit siphon goldfish. Lin Yuan thought it would be better to raise the 3 Mountain River Eternal Life carps and the 99.5 Fortune Ranches in the hidden Wirm lake. The spirit chi gathered by the 99.5 Fortune Ranches was enough to make the flowers in the Reflection Sun King Lotus's 100 pavilions more prosperous and colorful. As for this red sandalwood longevity fish tank, it would not be empty for nothing. Afterward, he would find any aquatic auspicious phase that were suitable to be raised indoors and then raise them in. Otherwise, now that the 3 Mountain River Eternal Life carps had grown to 3 meters in length, they wouldn't be able to swim freely in this 9-meter-long red sandalwood longevity fish tank. In the process of putting the 3 Mountain River Eternal Life carps into the hidden Wirm lake, Lin Yuan found that their bloodlines were somewhat abnormal. It seemed that the 3 Mountain River Eternal Life carps were about to evolve. ABC. Chapter 1368. The 3 Mountain River Eternal Life carps had been nurtured by Lin Yuan since they were young. Fish phase did not have high intelligence, but the 3 Mountain River Eternal Life carps were exceptionally close to Lin Yuan. After accompanying Lin Yuan by the hidden Wirm lake for a long time, the 3 Mountain River Eternal Life carps swung their tails and started to swim in the hidden Wirm lake. The 3 Mountain River Eternal Life carps had an exclusive skill, Place of Life. They entered the hidden Dragon Lake and went to the Angelfish of Bliss. Even the shining Sun King Lotus and the rare flowers planted in the 100 pavilions were happily stretching their branches and leaves. Looking at the beautiful scenery he had created, Lin Yuan let out a breath of turbid air that he had been suppressing in his heart. All of a sudden, Lin Yuan entered a mysterious state. Creativity can make people happy. A willpower rune full of the meaning of creation appeared in his mind. Lin Yuan was naturally happy to comprehend a new willpower rune. However, this willpower rune was clearly not suitable for the whale. At that moment, Lin Yuan heard the crisp cry of a bird coming from the mansion's entrance. Lin Yuan looked at the mansion's entrance and noticed that Sun Ningxiang had arrived. Besides Sun Ningxiang was a woman who was about the same height as Sun Ningxiang. This woman's facial features were somewhat similar to Sun Ningxiang's. Lin Yuan knew that Sun Ningxiang's parents had passed away. This woman should be Sun Ningxiang's grandmother, Lu Chan, an emperor-level powerhouse. Lin Yuan hurriedly walked forward and prepared to welcome Sun Ningxiang and Lu Chan into the house. As a result, when Lin Yuan arrived at the entrance of the mansion, before he could even speak to Sun Ningxiang had already arrived. Lu Chan knelt on one knee and said solemnly to Lin Yuan, "I am Lu Chan. Thank you for saving my life. Thank you for using the Lunar Dew Revival Pill to save my life." Upon seeing that Lu Chan was about to kowtow and thank him, Lin Yuan hurriedly reached out to hold her arm and help her up from the ground. Lin Yuan and Sun Ningxiang were friends, and Sun Ningxiang's grandmother was thanking him. Lin Yuan really could not bear it. When he had saved Lu Chan, he had not thought about the value of the Moon Dew Revival Pill. In retrospect, Lin Yuan did not regret using a Lunar Dew Revival Pill to save Lu Chan's life. Lin Yuan had the ability to not save his friend's family. When Sun Ningxiang saw that Lu Chan was still preparing to thank Lin Yuan, she was afraid that Lin Yuan would be put in a difficult position. Sun Ningxiang gently held Lu Chan's arm. Sun Ningxiang and Lin Yuan had not seen each other for a long time, but the last time she had seen him in the extreme arena, he had been wearing a mask. Sun Ningxiang didn't notice any changes in Lin Yuan. Sun Ningxiang couldn't help but be stunned when she saw Lin Yuan's exquisite facial features and increasingly elegant temperament. When Lu Chan noticed that Sun Ningxiang had lost her composure, she gently moved her arm. Only then did Sun Ningxiang regain her senses. Sun Ningxiang, who had returned to her senses, blushed and lowered her head, not daring to look at Lin Yuan's face. He did not notice the change in Sun Ningxiang's expression. Lin Yuan had been hoping that Lu Chan would stop kowtowing. After exchanging a few pleasantries with Lu Chan, Lin Yuan led Sun Ningxiang and Lu Chan to the main mansion. As soon as she arrived at the main residence and sat on the sofa, Sun Ningxiang decided to explain everything to Lin Yuan first. Lin Yuan was pouring 3 treasures tea for Sun Ningxiang and Lu Chan and had yet to fill up Sun Ningxiang's teacup. Sun Ningxiang said, "Lin Yuan, our Dew Immortal Garden wants to attach to Sky City from today onwards. We will become a branch faction of Sky City like the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce." Lin Yuan didn't look happy when he heard Sun Ningxiang's words. Instead, he frowned. Lin Yuan felt that Sun Ningxiang had made such a decision because she was grateful that he had saved Lu Chan. If Lin Yuan and Sun Ningxiang were not friends, Lin Yuan would be very willing for Sun Ningxiang to do this to thank him. However, Lin Yuan now regarded Sun Ningxiang as a good friend. Sun Ningxiang's actions made Lin Yuan feel that Sun Ningxiang was materializing their relationship too much. Thus, Lin Yuan asked Sun Ningxiang seriously, "Did you decide to let the Dew Immortal Garden attach to Sky City to express your gratitude? If it's to express your gratitude, you don't have to do this. If you really want to return the favor of this Lunar Dew Life Recovery Pill, wait for the Dew Immortal Garden to develop for a period of time and accumulate enough resources. Then, you can return it to me with equivalent resources." Sun Ningxiang shook her head gently. Sun Ningxiang had indeed made this decision to thank Lin Yuan. However, Sun Ningxiang, as the decision-maker of a peak force, was not so one-sided. When Sun Ningxiang made this decision, it was also for the sake of the entire Dew Congealing Immortal Garden. The Dew Immortal Garden was attached to Sky City, fulfilling Sun Ningxiang's wish to thank Lin Yuan. It would also affect the future development of the Dew Congealing Immortal Garden. Even if Lu Chan's body had recovered, there was only one Emperor-level expert in the Dew Immortal Garden. The Creation Master's resources and martial strength were all cut off. Such a Dew Congealing Immortal Garden would find it hard to develop further. Sun Ningxiang said after sorting out her thoughts. The Dew Immortal Garden is now relying on Sky City to provide Creation Master resources. Without Sky City, the Dew Immortal Garden's plant-type Fey function will instantly collapse. Relying on Sky City is a way out for our Dew Congealing Immortal Garden. Lin Yuan, if you think that our Dew Immortal Garden is alright, then accept it. From now on, Grandma and I can focus on developing the Dew Congealing Immortal Garden. We don't need to rack our brains for the schemes of other factions. Just think of it as our Dew Congealing Immortal Garden wanting to rely on a big tree. Hearing Sun Ningxiang's words, Lu Chan's heart turned sour. He felt that his granddaughter Sun Ningxiang's words were a little too humble. It was clearly to express its gratitude, but it was afraid that Lin Yuan would not agree to accept the Dew Immortal Garden. Therefore, it even said something like, backing a big tree. Lu Chan understood her granddaughter's maiden feelings. However, when Lu Chan saw Lin Yuan for the first time and saw his clean eyes, she couldn't help but feel a sense of dread. Lu Chan knew that Lin Yuan did not have such thoughts. It was no wonder that the Moon Empress disciple would strive for the Radiance Envoy's position in 2 years. How could his mind be clouded by lust? When Lin Yuan heard Sun Ningxiang's words, he looked at her and pondered. Just as Lin Yuan was muttering to himself, Sun Ningxiang said, "Don't worry. Lin Yuan, if Sky City doesn't accept the Dew Immortal Garden, I might as well let the Dew Immortal Garden fall from a top faction to a veteran faction. Then, sell all the cultivation bases in the Dew Immortal Garden to Sky City. We are old friends. We are friends. You won't refuse to take over our Dew Immortal Garden's spirit plant cultivation bases, which are priced at 1/5 of the market price, right?" Upon hearing Sun Ningxiang's words, Lin Yuan shook his head helplessly. "Since you've said this, from today onwards, the Dew Immortal Garden will be the second independent faction under Sky City. I won't ask about the Dew Immortal Garden's development. The Dew Immortal Garden only needs to report to Wen Yu, just like the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce." End of this chapter. Chapter 1369. After saying that, Lin Yuan pondered for a moment before continuing. "As a greeting gift for Dew Immortal Garden joining Sky City, I will provide Dew Immortal Garden with 2,000 heavenly maiden grade elemental pearls of various elements, 300 bronze/epic phase, 10 bronze/legend phase, 500 pieces of mid-grade swamp soil, and 50 pieces of high-grade swamp soil." Lin Yuan's calm words shocked Lu Chan and Sun Ningxiang. At that moment, Lu Chan and Sun Ningxiang only had one thought in their minds. They had decided to let Dew Immortal Garden join Sky City. Were they repaying the favor or speculating? Lin Yuan had invested too many resources into Dew Immortal Garden. When Lin Yuan had cooperated with Dew Immortal Garden previously, he had been providing bronze/epic phase to Dew Immortal Garden. It was the investment of these bronze/epic phase that had allowed Dew Immortal Garden to turn around its declining trend without a Class 4 creation master. With just these remaining grassroots personnel, Dew Immortal Garden's plant phase market share had increased by 3 percentage points. After all, Dew Immortal Garden and Sky City had maintained a cooperation for such a long time, but they had not exchanged for 300 bronze/epic phase. If the bronze/epic phase that Lin Yuan had invested in Sky City were all production-type spirit plants. By relying on these bronze/epic spirit plants as main plants to cultivate, Dew Immortal Garden could occupy more of the plant phase in the market. Moreover, Lin Yuan had just promised not only 300 bronze/epic phase. There were also 10 bronze/legend phase. In order to save Lu Chan, Sun Ningxiang had desperately searched for bronze/legend muscle revitalizing camellia, but she could not find it. It could be seen how precious bronze/legend spirit plants were. The Dew Immortal Garden had accumulated less than 20 stalks of bronze/legend quality spirit herbs over the past 100 years. Lin Yuan's provision of bronze/legend spirit plants was equivalent to expanding Dew Immortal Garden's high-end spirit plant market share by 1/3. This was something that Sun Ningxiang and Lu Chan could not imagine before. Moreover, Lin Yuan had provided Dew Immortal Garden with far more precious resources. The price of 2,000 heavenly maiden grade elemental pearls was higher than the total value of 300 bronze/epic phase and 10 bronze/legend phase. Heavenly maiden grade elemental pearls were exclusive to Class 4 creation masters. The Dew Immortal Garden had to use all kinds of elements to nurture plant phase. After the incident that had caused a large number of creation masters to leave the Dew Immortal Garden, Sun Ningxiang would have to spend some effort to obtain ordinary elemental pearls. Now that Lin Yuan had invested 2,000 heavenly maiden grade elemental pearls, Sun Ningxiang and Lu Chan were stunned. He felt like he was in a dream. In order to nurture plant type phase, soil was the foundation. When the Dew Immortal Garden nurtured plant type phase, it always had high requirements for the soil. This caused the quality of the plant phase that the Du Immortal Garden put on the market to be higher than the other factions that specialized in plant phase. The secret of Du Congealing Immortal Garden's good soil was that it was not stingy with its swamp soil. The use of the swamp soil allowed the Du Immortal Garden to accumulate an excellent reputation over the years. However, after the incident at the Du Congealing Immortal Garden, Sun Ningxiang no longer had enough resources to add more swamp soil to the cultivation base. This caused many consumers to realize that the quality of the plant species phase that the Du Immortal Garden had put on the market in the past few months was not as good as before. This caused Du Congealing Immortal Garden to face a crisis of public opinion in the market. Now that Lin Yuan had invested so much mid-grade swamp soil and high-grade swamp soil, the quality of the plant species phase that the Du Immortal Garden put on the market would only get better. This caused the crisis of public opinion that the Du Immortal Garden was facing to collapse. If Lin Yuan really invested so many resources into the Du Immortal Garden, Sun Ningxiang was confident that she could increase the Du Immortal Garden's plant fei market share from 30% to 50% in a very short time. When the Du Immortal Garden's plant fei market share reached more than 50%, the Du Immortal Garden would truly monopolize the Radiance Federation's plant fei market. At that time, no matter what the other factions that specialized in plant phase did, they would no longer be able to shake the Du Immortal Garden's position. The only way to continue to develop was to cooperate with the Du Immortal Garden. At that time, the Du Immortal Garden could use some means to continue to integrate the market resources. It would gradually expand the plant phase market share of 50%. It could be said that Lin Yuan's words made Sun Ningxiang see a beautiful future. Sun Ningxiang increasingly felt that Lin Yuan's shoulder was a warm harbor that people could not help but want to rest on. However, Lin Yuan had just consumed a Moon Dew revival pill to save her grandmother and had saved her and the Du Immortal Garden from danger many times. She was here to thank him and repay his kindness. But now, Lin Yuan was going to invest so many resources into the Du Immortal Garden. Where did her kindness go? Without considering from the perspective of kindness, just from the perspective of cooperation. The Du Immortal Garden had just been incorporated into Sky City and had yet to make any contributions to Sky City. As the saying went, one should not receive a reward without pains, let alone such a massive amount of resources. Lu Chan looked at Sun Ningxiang with a complicated expression and then at Lin Yuan. At first glance, Lu Chan thought that Sun Ningxiang had fallen in love with him because of his appearance and temperament. Such a young man with such good looks and temperament was simply too attractive to women. But now, it was obvious that it was not as simple as his appearance and temperament. Lin Yuan had a terrifying ability to make money, was decisive, and was someone who could do great things. There was only one possibility for a woman not to be tempted by such resources. That was no heart. When Lin Yuan saw Sun Ningxiang's conflicted expression, he did not immediately agree. Lin Yuan replied with a chuckle. I'm not providing these resources to the Du Congealing Immortal Garden for free. I have a request for the Du Congealing Immortal Garden. After obtaining these resources, I hope that the Du Immortal Garden will be able to expand the spirit plant breeding base and strive to ensure that every plant fei can satisfy the market's demand. Also, stock up on plant feis that require a lot of daily consumption in case of emergencies. When Sun Ningxiang heard that Lin Yuan was going to make a request, she had thought that he would ask her to seize as much market share as possible. Unexpectedly, Lin Yuan did not request for this. The Du Immortal Garden had at least 2,000 spirit herb cultivation bases. These spirit plant cultivation bases were chosen in the best areas of the Radiant Sect's major cities. This was the investment that Du Immortal Garden had made when Sun Ningxiang's grandfather was still alive. Each of the 2,000 or so spirit plant cultivation bases had dozens of outsourced cultivation bases. These spirit plant breeding bases were the reason why the Du Immortal Garden was able to monopolize the plant type phase in the market. However, even with so many spirit plant breeding bases, it was obviously not enough to meet Lin Yuan's request. It's almost the new year. I'll strive to give you 10 consecutive updates before February. Treat it as a New Year's benefit. I hope everyone can support button. End of this chapter. Chapter 1370. In Sun Ningxiang's opinion, Lin Yuan's request for the Du Immortal Garden did not seem like a business investment. Instead, Lin Yuan wanted to use the Du Immortal Garden for something. She thought of the conflict between Chief Guard Knight and the Imperial Mermaids yesterday. Sun Ningxiang's heart trembled as she thought of a possibility. Lin Yuan, you asked the Du Immortal Garden to stockpile plant fair-related resources in preparation for war? Lin Yuan nodded upon hearing that. That was indeed what Lin Yuan was thinking. The lava that had fallen from the sky yesterday had let Lin Yuan know how destructive a war was to a city. Once an expert used a meteorological phenomenon to carry out a destructive attack on a city during a war, many existing facilities and places would be instantly paralyzed. At that time, there must be enough resource reserves to be able to withstand the current predicament. Lin Yuan wanted to make this kind of preparation. That's right. In the process of stockpiling resources, the Du Immortal Garden's ranking among the top factions will not have an obvious improvement. On the contrary, I hope that the Du Immortal Garden can remain silent and bide its time. Do your best to start accumulating plant fair-related resources. The process of accumulation will consume a lot of resources, which I will provide to the Du Immortal Garden. Lin Yuan had previously thought that he had the soldier food radishes. He would rely on these soldier food radishes and nurture them. It would be enough to support the food consumption of a large number of people. In fact, when the soldier food radishes were planted to a certain extent, it would not be a problem for Lin Yuan to support the entire Radiance people's food supply. However, what had happened yesterday had made Lin Yuan realize that he had thought everything too simply. Food was a necessity, but in addition to food, people also needed many other things to survive. If he did not prepare these things first and something special happened, he would immediately fall into a passive state. Plant phase were the producers of the entire ecosystem. He would preserve the base of plant phase and stockpile plant fair-related resources. No matter what happened in the future, Lin Yuan would have the confidence to deal with it. In fact, the Radiance Federation had a department that specialized in stockpiling resources. This department was the one that used revival soil to trade heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls in Lin Yuan's purchase with no lost star web store. Just like the spirit guards, Gung Garden also had a majesty guarding it. This eminence was one of the Radiance Federation's 13 eminences, Tian Feng. It was not that Lin Yuan did not believe in the plantation's resource reserves, but he had always liked to plan ahead. In any case, Lin Yuan's Spirit Lock Spatial Zone was a treasure vault that could continuously harvest a large number of resources without any investment. With the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone, he could afford it. When Sun Ningxiang heard his words, she immediately knew what she could do for him. Sun Ningxiang's heart was suddenly filled with enthusiasm. Lin Yuan, I asked the Du Immortal Garden to submit to Sky City, but I never thought of raising its ranking among the top factions. Tomorrow, Grandma and I will announce to the public that the Du Immortal Garden will begin its seclusion. From now on, the Du Immortal Garden will focus on hoarding plant-type fair-related resources. If I need anything in the future, I won't hold back. I'll tell you immediately. Strive to maximize the speed of resource storage. It's just that most of the good lands suitable for building spirit plant cultivation bases have been purchased by the various major powers. The remaining lands will more or less need to be transformed. When Lin Yuan heard Sun Ningxiang's words, his heart stirred. The Radiance Federation did not have much land suitable for farming. But the swamp world had plenty of them. Lin Yuan was now occupying the Nether Scorpion Apostles' territory, which was slightly smaller than Radiance's large cities. Even though a large part of this land was a swamp, given his current ability, he could easily deal with it. It was not difficult to build a path in the swamp world. The entire territory was guarded by Bai Yan, who could guarantee its safety. He could open up a vast area in this territory and build spirit plant breeding bases to make use of the territory. However, those who came to work in the territory had to voluntarily avoid the world. At that thought, Lin Yuan said to Sun Ningxiang. Sun Ningxiang, I have land that is suitable for building a Fey breeding base, but the people working on this land have to go into seclusion. As an allowance for them to live in seclusion, I can give them 10 times the treatment they get when they work outside. We can also let these people move their families to this land. How many of such people can you find in the dew condensation immortal garden? Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Sun Ningxiang immediately replied without thinking. You can find a bunch of such people in the dew condensation immortal garden. Most of the people working in the Fey breeding base are ordinary people or some spirit chi professionals who don't have any combat ability. These people work 6 hours a day, for shifts, and their monthly income is about 4,000 Federation dollars. If I can increase their salary by 10 times and increase it to 40,000 Federation dollars a month, there shouldn't be anyone who will refuse. At that point, Sun Ningxiang had a lot of things to say to Lin Yuan. However, she did not know what to say in the end. In Sun Ningxiang's eyes, Lin Yuan was His Majesty's disciple, the Sky City Lordess, and he had countless resources in his hands. It was impossible for Lin Yuan to understand the hardships of ordinary people. In fact, as a direct descendant of a top faction, Sun Ningxiang should not understand the hardships of ordinary people. Sun Ningxiang understood so much because her grandfather had arranged for her to train in the Dew Condensation Medical Center for a period of time when she was young. During this period, Sun Ningxiang, a young lady of a top faction, had seen the life of ordinary people in the secular world. Lin Yuan nodded when he heard Sun Ningxiang's words. What Sun Ningxiang did not know was that Lin Yuan had worked harder than these ordinary people in the Fey breeding base. He had dragged his sickly body to maintain a small Fey store. With Auntie Zhang's care, Lin Yuan could only earn 2,000 Federation dollars a month. At that time, Lin Yuan had used 300 Federation dollars to fill his stomach and 200 Federation dollars to occasionally help Genius and Chimey improve their meals. As for the remaining 1,500 Federation dollars, Lin Yuan had been carefully saving them so that Chu Ci could complete her studies. No one knew the hardships of survival better than Lin Yuan. Upon hearing Sun Ningxiang's words, Lin Yuan emphasized. Then help me choose some people. When choosing people, you must emphasize seclusion. The seclusion will be for life. Sun Ningxiang was slightly startled when she heard Lin Yuan's words. Seclusion was fine. It would not be a problem to seclude for 8 to 10 years. However, seclusion for life was a little too long. Lin Yuan had his own considerations. He could not confirm the loyalty of these people who had been selected to work in the Swamp World's Fey plant breeding base. Therefore, if he wanted the Swamp World situation not to be leaked, the best way was to let these people live in the Swamp World forever. Chapter 1371. He would definitely not mistreat these people. He could promise high-quality bronze phase and a bright future to those spirit craftsmen working in the swamp world. However, to ordinary people who couldn't become spirit chi professionals, high-quality bronze phase weren't very attractive. Therefore, he intended to improve their living standards. Just as Sun Ningxiang was about to ask if there were any other requirements apart from seclusion, Lin Yuan stopped her. Lin Yuan said. For these people who live in seclusion, they will be given 10 boxes of all kinds of spirit fruits that can improve their physical qualities and 15 kilograms of various kinds of meat every month. There will be spirit craftsmen who will specially build stand-alone houses that are around 200 square meters. The rooms will be equipped with jasmine lilies and other household fays. We will also arrange for healing class spirit chi professionals to treat illnesses for free. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Sun Ningxiang felt that such seclusion was simply a blessing for ordinary people. Those who worked in Fey breeding bases had very small social circles. Other than working hard to make a living, he spent most of his time with his family. What these people wanted the most was a stable and comfortable life. Putting aside the tenfold salary that Lin Yuan was offering, just the living conditions that he was offering were enough to tempt anyone. In the Radiance Federation, those people in the Fey breeding base would struggle for their entire lives. They might not even be able to live in a 200 square meter detached house. Lin Yuan, I will handle this matter as soon as possible. How many people do you want to choose? Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan pondered for a moment before replying, that's right. The area I've designated is about 2,000 square kilometers. Look at how many people are needed for such a large Fey breeding base. Just recruit as many people as you need. When Sun Ningxiang heard Lin Yuan's words, she was a little surprised at the area that Lin Yuan reported. Such a large area was comparable to a county under a large city. Such a large area would require a lot of manpower, at least 100,000 people. Lin Yuan and Sun Ningxiang were straightforward people, and they settled the matter in a few words. Lu Chan, who had been listening to Lin Yuan and Sun Ningxiang's discussion, blinked her eyes when she saw that they had finished their discussion. When Lu Chan was young, she often represented the dew condensation immortal garden to discuss cooperation with other forces. Every time they discussed cooperation, both sides would strive to maximize their own benefits. They did not give in to each other and schemed back and forth. Lin Yuan and Sun Ningxiang seemed to have a tacit understanding when discussing matters. Or it could be said that in order to achieve his goal, he simply did not care about the investment of resources. Lu Chan had previously thought of letting Sun Ningxiang fight for a spot in the Radiance Knights Legion. However, Sun Ningxiang's eyes were filled with vigor as she thought about how to complete the mission that Lin Yuan had given her. Under such circumstances, how could Sun Ningxiang still have the mood to improve her strength and attack the Radiant Light Knights? Now that Sun Ningxiang was closer to Lin Yuan, their friendship might continue to deepen. But if this continued, the love between the two of them would undoubtedly become even more distant. As an experienced person, Lu Chan could see everything clearly. However, Lu Chan did not know how to tell Sun Ningxiang about these things. In the end, Lu Chan sighed. Forget it, the younger generation will have their own blessings. This matter was related to the Moon Empress disciple, and even if his old bones wanted to worry about it, he wasn't qualified. At this time, Lu Jia had already served the dishes. Ever since the mother of Bloodbath saw the thick sun chain, it had been in a complicated mood. In order to let the mother of Bloodbath change its mood, Lin Yuan simply let it go to the popular shops with the group members that it had met in the gourmet group. At this time, the mother of Bloodbath was not in the mansion. Thus, only Lin Yuan, Lu Jia, Sun Ningxiang, and Lu Chan ate this lunch together. Lu Jia cooked the dishes that Sun Ningxiang had ordered, and Sun Ningxiang had specially taken care of Lu Chan's taste when ordering. When Lu Chan and Sun Ningxiang were eating, they almost swallowed their tongues into their stomachs. After the meal, Lu Chan and Sun Ningxiang did not stay for long and were ready to deal with the follow-up matters. The Dew Immortal Garden was integrated into Sky City, and Sun Ningxiang had to complete Lin Yuan's mission again. For a long time in the future, Lu Chan and Sun Ningxiang would be busy. Just as Lin Yuan and Lu Jia were talking about the Divine Wood Federation's development after the meal, in the Radiance Royal Court, Mystic Moon was in a dilemma. This was the first time Mystic Moon was participating in the Imperial Court Conference. Mystic Moon, who had become eternal, had the qualifications to become a holiness. Although Mystic Moon was currently the Moon Empress Moon Envoy, there was no way to pass Mystic Moon's test. However, Mystic Moon's strength allowed her to speak on equal terms with the Majesties. But now, Xianyu, who was attending the Imperial Court Assembly for the first time, was completely embarrassed. This was because Xianyu knew that the Moon Empress had contracted the longevity rat and resolved her predicament. To put it bluntly, as long as the Moon Empress subordinates didn't kill the longevity essence rats, the Moon Empress lifespan would be much longer than the High Lords. Xianyu had guessed that Night Leaning Moon would attack the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids not only because of Lu Jia. It was very likely that it had more to do with knowing that the Moon Empress was only left with 3 years of lifespan. Xianyu was right. Since the beginning of the royal court meeting, apart from that old man, His Highness Cicada Cry, and Ji Changdang, who had yet to return to Huiyao, there was no one else. The other sovereigns all asked Night Leaning Moon what was going on. Night Leaning Moon didn't explain the reason, but things had developed to this point, so there was no way to hide it. In the end, under the questioning gazes of the 7 Majesties, Cicada Cry could only helplessly explain the situation. It would have been better if he did not explain the situation, but once he did, the entire Imperial Court Assembly exploded. It was especially so for the Bamboo Monarch, who owed the Moon Empress a favor. He immediately expressed that he wanted to travel and search for spiritual ingredients that could extend his lifespan. This made Mystic Moon rather touched, as she knew that the bamboo monarch was truly indebted to the Moon Empress. He thanked the Moon Empress from the bottom of his heart. However, as a Moon envoy, Mystic Moon couldn't reveal the fact that the Moon Empress' lifespan had recovered without the Moon Empress' permission. At that moment, Chef Supreme, who knew that the Moon Empress only had 3 years left to live, finally spoke up. I happen to have some friendly relations with the Azure Winged Tiger clan, one of the Azure Federation's 12 Azure clans. When Bamboo Monarch goes out to search for spiritual materials that can increase one's lifespan, I'll make a trip to the Azure Federation. The Azure Winged Tiger clan must have some Azure Winged Tiger blood essence. The Azure Winged Tiger blood essence has the effect of increasing one's lifespan. Take a drop of the Azure Winged Tiger's blood essence every day for a year. It should be able to extend your lifespan by 3 months. However, after taking it for a year, the Azure Winged Tiger's blood essence will lose its effect. I'll have to think of another way. Hearing Chef Supreme's words, Mystic Moon couldn't help but ask. The Moon Empress had said that she would only come out of seclusion before the Radiance 100 sequence. During this period of time, she couldn't possibly toss all the sovereigns out just because she had to guard the news, right? Chapter 1372. These highnesses had been working hard for the Moon Empress, and she would inevitably owe them favors. It was not easy to return favors from highnesses. Just as Mystic Moon was thinking of ways to stabilize these highnesses without revealing the Moon Empress situation, Iron Prison, who was sitting beside Cicada Cry, stood up and said, "In another month, it will be the Radiance 100 sequence selection. In another month, it will be the Radiance 100 sequence selection. In less than a month, the Azure Federation's envoys and the Freedom Federation's envoys will arrive in Radiance. It's not suitable for all of you to go out at this time. The sea races matter has not been resolved. The Imperial Mermaids have publicly acknowledged that they tore up the Radiance Sea Treaty and trampled on Radiance's dignity. I propose to completely eliminate the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids." Mystic Moon had never liked Iron Prison, but he felt that his words were very pleasing to the ear. If the other highnesses listened to Cicada Cry, they would stay in Radiance before the Radiance 100 sequence. Once the Moon Empress came out of seclusion, this matter would be easily resolved. As soon as Iron Prison finished speaking, Cicada Cry could not help but rub his temples and think to himself. The logic was right, but he definitely could not say it like that. Iron Prison was really a blockhead to actually do something that offended others. The atmosphere was so depressing now, and if Iron Prison said this, wouldn't he become the punching bag for others? Fortunately, Ji Changdang was not around. If Ji Changdang was here, he would probably start a fight with Iron Prison. Sure enough, as soon as Iron Prison finished speaking, Night Leaning Moon slammed her hand on the table and said, "Why do all the highnesses need to be present for the Radiance 100 sequence selection and 2 Federation envoys? I will hand over all the Spirit Guards matters to my left and right officials to handle. Tomorrow, I will head to the Radiance Moon Palace to stay. When Sighing Moon comes out of seclusion, ask her about her situation, and I will bring her out to look for opportunities." Mystic Moon was a little unhappy when he heard Night Leaning Moon's words. The Moon Empress is in seclusion. Who allowed you to stay in the Radiance Moon Palace? At the same time, Night Leaning Moon's words made Mystic Moon heave a sigh of relief. If Night Leaning Moon could stay in the Radiance Moon Palace until the Moon Empress came out of seclusion, it would be equivalent to stabilizing the most troublesome Night Leaning Moon. Before Mystic Moon could heave a sigh of relief, the Bamboo Monarch spoke again. "The new leaves of my Golden Silk Emperor Bamboo have the effect of increasing one's lifespan. I can use the young leaves of the Golden Silk Emperor Bamboo to make a spirit liquid with the heart of the bamboo. Before I leave, I will pass the concocted spirit liquid to Xianyu. The spirit liquid concocted from the Golden Thread Emperor Bamboo's bamboo leaves and bamboo heart can only be consumed 6 times by the Moon Empress before it becomes ineffective. 6 times should be able to increase the Moon Empress' lifespan by at least 3 months. In addition to the Azure Winged Tiger's blood essence that Chef Supreme obtained from the Azure Federation, the Moon Empress can be assured for at least 4.5 years. Bamboo Monarch's words made Tian Feng frown. Fu Wenju, your Class 5 Creation Master Dao is on the Golden Silk Emperor Bamboo. It is fine if you took the Golden Silk Emperor Bamboo's bamboo leaves, but if you took the bamboo core and damaged the Golden Silk Emperor Bamboo's roots, wouldn't your Creation Master standard drop to the pinnacle of Class 4? Bamboo Monarch said firmly when he heard Tian Feng's words. I owe the Moon Empress a favor, even if I use my life to repay it. The Moon Empress saving Xiangxiang is equivalent to saving my life. After speaking, Bamboo Monarch didn't say anything else. Bamboo Monarch's words made Tian Feng speechless for a moment. As a majesty, Bamboo Monarch understood the significance of a Class 5 Creation Master to the Radiance Federation. However, Bamboo Monarch didn't choose righteousness when it came to the Moon Empress lifespan. Instead, he chose personal relationships. It was just like how Bamboo Monarch chose Wang Fuxiang. After hearing Bamboo Monarch's words, Iron Prison stood up and ignored Cicada Ming, who was pulling his sleeve. He said coldly, Bamboo Monarch, you really disappoint me. Be it the previous time or this time, you are very disqualified as a majesty. Forget it. My desolate bloodline Fei, the infernal turtle, attained eternity not long ago and obtained an exclusive skill, Turtle Life Judgment. Turtle Life Judgment can transfer my lifespan to others in a converted manner. I will use my lifespan to exchange for you to stay in the Radiance Federation and for Bamboo Monarch to become a Class 5 Creation Master. After converting my lifespan, the Moon Empress can live for at least another 100 years. As long as I don't die, the Moon Empress can always live. After speaking, under everyone's gaze, Iron Prison sat back on his chair and tilted his head to look at Cicada Ming. Iron Prison's eyebrows, which were more than twice as thick as an ordinary person's, raised slightly as though he was asking Cicada Ming, why did you pull me just now? Night Leaning Moon, Chef Supreme, Bamboo Monarch, Tian Feng, and the others looked at Iron Prison with a layer of respect. Iron Prison wasn't like Ji Changdang, who loved the Moon Empress deeply and was her bootlicker. Iron Prison and the Moon Empress were always at odds, or rather, Iron Prison didn't get along with any majesty during the Great Night Assembly. Iron Prison would only stick to his own thoughts and was very stubborn. This made many majesties have opinions about Iron Prison. It could be said that Iron Prison's relationship with others was the worst among all the majesties. But now, Bamboo Monarch, Chef Supreme, Night Leaning Moon, Tian Feng, and the others suddenly understood Iron Prison's heart. Iron Prison had just said that Bamboo Monarch was somewhat disqualified. Perhaps, Iron Prison had always been in the proper category. Compared to Iron Prison, they were indeed not that competent. Xian Yu took a deep look at Tai Yu. Her opinion of Tai Yu had completely disappeared. Mystic Moon even had a good impression of Iron Prison. If Lin Yuan's longevity rat hadn't solved the Moon Empress predicament, perhaps Iron Prison would have been the Moon Empress path of redemption. Iron Prison's desolate bloodline Fei had judged that the Flaming Tortoise's strength had reached the Eternal Realm. Even Class 5 Creation Masters couldn't see through the Eternal Fei's exclusive skill. If Iron Prison didn't say it, it would be a secret that would never be known by outsiders. However, Iron Prison had revealed the Flaming Tortoise's exclusive skill for the so-called proper. Iron Prison's method was equivalent to using his own lifespan to exchange for the Moon Empress's lifespan. At this moment, Mystic Moon felt that Iron Prison was rather great. This greatness had nothing to do with strength, but Iron Prison's body had a radiance that Mystic Moon couldn't ignore. Just as everyone was immersed in their own thoughts, Iron Prison stood up and fired at Night Leaning Moon again. I have been talking about the Moon Empress lifespan problem. Now, the problem has been solved. I want to mention that Night Leaning Moon made a move against the Imperial Mermaid race. In my opinion, she was too impulsive. I don't object to making a move against the Imperial Mermaid race, but before making a move, she should have at least discussed it in the Imperial Court Assembly. If the three of us had made a move together and summoned a celestial phenomenon to fight against the Imperial Mermaid race, the result would have been completely different. As long as we can severely injure the Imperial Mermaid race and kill most of their members, the Imperial Mermaid race will no longer be able to bring benefits to the Freedom Federation. The Freedom Federation's Du Miao wouldn't have intervened and summoned the sacred source life form, Boiling Platycodon. Iron Prison was still so radical that Cicada Cry couldn't help but shake his head. Chapter 1373. This Iron Prison had just done something that left Night Leaning Moon with a good impression and even caused her to feel deep respect for him. He immediately began to stir up trouble again. Shooting at Night Leaning Moon at this time, wasn't he just waiting to quarrel with her? Moreover, Iron Prison had thought of things too simply. Just as Cicada Cry was about to change the topic and give Iron Prison and Night Leaning Moon a way out, Night Leaning Moon stood up and bowed towards the Iron Prison as she spoke. Iron Prison, I, Night Leaning Moon, owe you a favor today. Whatever you want me to do in the future, just tell me. After Night Leaning Moon said these words to Iron Prison, her tone immediately changed. He slammed his hand on the table and said, "Do you think I don't have the ability to kill the members of the Imperial Mermaid clan under the protection of Yuao, the leader of the Imperial Mermaid clan? My sacred source life form, the Dark Sky Prajna, is indeed my first contracted sacred source life form, but my second contracted sacred source life form, the Resurrection Lily Flower, is the strongest phenomenon I can currently conjure. You know how powerful the combination of the Dark Sky Prajna and the Permitha Scholar Flower is. I didn't use the sacred source life form, the Permitha Flower, to kill the members of the Imperial Mermaid clan because I wanted to spare their lives. When the 8 clans of Ocean Empire gather in Radiance, we will resolve the Radiant Sea Treaty. Iron Prison, you should know that if I kill most of the members of the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids clan, we won't be in the right position in the negotiation. It's very likely that this will incite the Sea Folk to unite against a common enemy. Iron Prison, I, Night Leaning Moon, have been in charge of the spirit guards for decades as Her Holiness Biyao." The entire Imperial Court meeting ended in Mystic Moon's dizziness. After stepping out of the Radiance Royal Court, Mystic Moon heaved a sigh of relief. He told the other majesties about what he had learned from Lin Yuan during the Imperial Court Council. It also stabilized the other High Holiness and allowed them to wait for the Moon Empress to come out of seclusion. He hadn't messed up either of those things. However, after the entire Imperial Court meeting, Mystic Moon made a decision in her heart. That was to never participate in the Imperial Court Council ever again. This was simply too brain-burning. Lin Yuan, who had been staying in the mansion for the past 2 days, had returned to his previous state of bursting with energy. During these 2 days, Lin Yuan had basically spent all his time nurturing the steel barbed iron shells. Since he had reached an agreement with the Stormy Waves City, he naturally had to prepare the spiky iron clam that he would hand over to Wang Su in the future. Lin Yuan, who had been working hard for 2 consecutive days, was not as exhausted as before. After consuming the geocentric jade milk, his body had transformed. Lin Yuan realized that he would no longer feel particularly tired even if he worked hard. Even when sleeping, he only needed to take a short nap to replenish his vitality. Sun Ningxiang had mailed a diamond phase storage box to him yesterday. This diamond phase storage box contained plenty of law origin crystals. Lin Yuan counted at least 4,000 of them. After obtaining the diamond phase storage box, Lin Yuan called Sun Ningxiang. He knew that this was something Sun Ningxiang had specially prepared for him, but she had forgotten to give it to him when she left. When he had traded high-quality bronze phase with Sun Ningxiang, he had earned hundreds of law origin crystals from her. In addition to the more than 4,000 that Sun Ningxiang had given him, the Du Immortal Garden's law origin crystals reserve was less than 5,000. This was far from the Coiling Dragon Valley's law origin crystals reserve. The Coiling Dragon Valley had taken out more than 10,000 law origin crystals without batting an eyelid. It seemed that there was often a huge gap between the top factions in a certain specific material reserve. About 5,000 law origin crystals were nothing to the current Lin Yuan. However, this allowed Lin Yuan to understand Sun Ningxiang's intentions. He knew that she had been thinking about what he needed. Long Tao and Li Xian had called Lin Yuan for the past 2 days. After discussing with Lin Yuan, Long Tao and Lin Yuan decided to set up a faction called the Dragon Tomb. Its main function was to sell the spiritual materials on dragon species phase. As the coiling Dragon Valley's young family head, it was easy for Long Tao to get the 6 eggs of the hook-toothed behemoth dragon from the family. Not to mention, after knowing that Long Tao and Lin Yuan were going to set up a new faction together, the coiling Dragon Valley's upper echelons all raised their hands and feet in approval. However, the hook-toothed behemoth dragon's eggs were related to the nurturing of the new faction's initial breeding dragons. Lin Yuan asked Long Tao to send the 6 hook-toothed behemoth dragon eggs to him. Lin Yuan naturally did not want these hook-toothed behemoth dragon eggs to see what they looked like. Instead, he wanted to hatch these hook-toothed behemoth dragons and enhance them. Lin Yuan took half a day to inject a large amount of pure spirit qi into these 6 hook-toothed behemoth dragons' eggs to speed up their hatching. After these hook-toothed behemoth dragons hatched, Lin Yuan upgraded the 3 male and 3 female hook-toothed behemoth dragon infants to Bronze X/Legend. Then, he asked someone to send 6 young dragons to Long Tao as breeding dragons. Lin Yuan had already laid a foundation for these 6 hook-toothed behemoth dragons. Long Tao would then need to guide these 6 hook-toothed behemoth dragons into estrus to breed offspring. When Long Tao received the 6 young hook-toothed behemoth dragons, he did not feel anything at first. However, not long after, Long Tao suddenly realized that these 6 little fellows that had been upgraded to bronze were all at legend. Long Tao could not help but be dumbfounded for a long time. Long Tao sighed in his heart more than once. It was simply too cool to cooperate with Lin Yuan. To be able to nurture 6 Bronze/Legend phase in such a short time, Long Tao's subconscious reaction was that the Moon Empress had helped. Long Tao looked at these 6 Bronze/Legend hook-toothed behemoth dragons and was filled with enthusiasm. With such an excellent foundation, the quality of the offspring produced by the hook-toothed behemoth dragons would certainly not be bad. Through the spirit fluid cultivation to speed up childbirth, Lin Yuan would be able to provide the first batch of dragon livers in a month or 2. The newly established faction, the Dragon Tomb, could also open for business normally. Li Xian easily convinced the clan's elders at the Council of Elders. After all, the elders of Li Yun Avian Domain knew how their faction had risen. This was because Li Xian had stood in that small circle at the Nix assembly and chatted cheerfully with the 4 disciples of His Holiness. This had allowed Li Yun Avian Domain to reach cooperation with many top factions. Even the big cities that had not cooperated with Li Yun Avian Domain before had started to order flying phase from Li Yun Avian Domain. This made Li Yun Avian Domain's elders feel proud when they went out. Even if Lin Yuan wanted to ask for the phoenix blood of the main phoenix species Fei for free, many elders of Li Yun Avian Domain were willing to provide it. Moreover, Lin Yuan had taken out the phoenix nirvana flower to exchange for it. Li Yun Avian Domain's elders were not ranked according to strength. However, the stronger elders were often able to sit at the front of the Elder Council. Chapter 1374. Once he refused to cooperate with Lin Yuan and the other elders agreed to cooperate with Lin Yuan, he would immediately face a passive situation. The other elders had obtained a large number of Phoenix Nirvana flowers through their cooperation with Lin Yuan. If the main Phoenix species phase bloodline kept improving, the corresponding strength would also keep increasing. This would cause the elders who agreed to trade with Lin Yuan to constantly squeeze into the front ranks of the Elders Association. None of the elders who understood this were willing to decline their status in the Elder Council because they refused to cooperate. As long as he had the Phoenix Nirvana flower, he could exchange for the main Phoenix species phase blood from the Dawn Cloud birdcage anytime and anywhere. However, Lin Yuan wasn't in a hurry to obtain the Phoenix blood. After all, if the Golden Wings wanted to increase their strength, they had to eat dragon liver and Phoenix blood together. Just having Phoenix blood without dragon liver was useless. During these 2 days, Lin Yuan browsed through the star web. He realized that the popularity of the posts regarding the weather change, the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids tearing up the Radiant Sea Treaty, and the shocking bet between the Radiance Federation and the Freedom Federation had decreased significantly. Some people even began to recall the blood oath battle between the Miao family and the blissful Sea clan in the Beast Creation Garden. Lin Yuan knew that it was about time to use his identity as the Moon Empress disciple to intervene in this matter. The conflict between the Radiance Federation, the Imperial Mermaids, and the Freedom Federation wasn't considered as gossip news. There was nothing to discuss. The Star Web netizens would at most discuss how terrifying the astronomical anomaly was. It was precisely this kind of news that caused the popularity of these three incidents to drop so quickly. The anomaly in the sky that evening was witnessed by everyone at the same time. Most of the people who usually didn't log onto the Star Web had logged onto the Star Web to understand the situation. These few days were the period with the highest number of Star Web netizens. If he used his identity as the Moon Empress disciple to intervene in the conflict between Sky City and the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden, he would indeed be suppressed by the popularity of those three matters. However, this period of time allowed more people to log on to the Star Web to understand the conflict between Sky City and the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. Furthermore, he had used his identity as the Moon Empress disciple to intervene in the conflict between the Sky City and the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. It was a matter of gossip and had a lot of repercussions. Since Lin Yuan was the Moon Empress disciple and also the Sky City Lord, he had to be careful. If Lin Yuan wanted the incident to ferment, he did not need to do anything. He just needed to find a Star Web reporter to publish the article. The Star Web had a rigid requirement for public opinion news. This requirement meant that the news published by the Star Web reporters had to be filled with their own views and could set the pace. However, they had to ensure the authenticity of the news. Therefore, as long as it was news released by Star Web columnists, Star Web netizens would accept it very well. As for which Star Web reporter to look for, Lin Yuan didn't even think before choosing Tian Ningning. As Black's exclusive reporter, Tian Ningning was obviously not suitable to publish a column on this matter. Tian Ningning had recently used Miaohe's connections to build a rather large network of Star Web columnists. Previously, when you needed Star Web reporters to publish news, she had asked Tian Ningning to find them. He planned to tell Tian Ningning about this and ask her to find a suitable Star Web reporter. Such hot exclusive news was enough for a rookie Star Web reporter to become a big shot in the industry. If Tian Ningning wasn't suitable, he could let Tian Ningning give this opportunity to someone else. This way, Tian Ningning could maintain a perfect friendship with a big shot reporter. Through Tian Ningning, he could indirectly let this big shot reporter serve Sky City. Lin Yuan immediately dialed Tian Ningning's number and talked to her about this matter. After hearing what Lin Yuan said on the phone, Tian Ningning went to the return from faraway mansion without another word. After arriving at the return from faraway mansion, Tian Ningning excitedly handed Lin Yuan 3 sets of Star Web reporters' information. She asked Lin Yuan to choose from these 3 Star Web reporters. Lin Yuan took the information and looked at it carefully. He saw that the Star Web reporter in the first set was called Yu Fang, a rookie Star Web reporter. She had just succeeded in her studies and was considered a blank piece of paper without any resume. While Lin Yuan was looking at Yu Fang's information, Tian Ningning introduced Yu Fang's situation to him. Yu Fang was currently interning under Tian Ningning. If he chose Yu Fang, Tian Ningning planned to simply set up a Star Web reporter's office and sign Yu Fang before giving this opportunity to Yu Fang. This could ensure that Yu Fang wouldn't turn hostile after getting the benefits. The Star Web reporter in the second set was called Wang Rui. After looking at Wang Rui's photo, Lin Yuan could be sure that Wang Rui was at least 50 years old. The Star Web reporters at this age had made a name for themselves and became Star Web editors or even chief editors. Those who weren't doing well were generally veterans who wrote their drafts based on their own will and had offended many people. In Tian Ningning's introduction, Wang Rui was indeed such a veteran. The reason why Tian Ningning chose Wang Rui was because he had offended the chief editor. He had been ostracized in Star Web and was facing a state of semi-unemployment. Tian Ningning was confident that she could persuade Wang Rui to join her studio. Lin Yuan had filtered out Wang Rui when comparing Yu Fang and Wang Rui. The Star Web reporter that Lin Yuan was looking for was just a mouthpiece. A mouthpiece that could pass messages was good enough. There was no benefit to Lin Yuan to have a mouthpiece. When Lin Yuan looked at the third set of information, he couldn't help but raise his brows. The woman in the third set of information was about 20 to 30 years old. Her long, curly hair was draped to her waist, but it didn't look messy at all. Instead, she looked very capable. The woman had deep eyes and was very charming. Her resume was also excellent, and she had even interviewed Radiant's 100 sequence members. However, this star web reporter had once been banned by a guild club because she had reported on a team from that guild club. This guild club was the Barbarian Snake Guild Club that Lin Yuan had dealt with previously. It was impossible for this star web reporter, Zhou Man, to not know that reporting on the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's main team was cruel and suspected of blackmail would result in retaliation from the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. However, Zhou Man still did it despite knowing. This showed that she had a strong sense of justice and conscience. This sense of justice and conscience would drive Zhou Man to disregard danger. When looking at Zhou Man's information, Lin Yuan realized that Tian Ningning had prepared the most detailed information on her. When he was looking at Zhou Man's information, Tian Ningning spoke the most. She also specifically mentioned that Zhou Man was very knowledgeable about public opinion and public relations. Lin Yuan had previously asked Tian Ningning to be the Dome Guild Club's team reporter. It was too difficult for Tian Ningning to have only one team reporter in a guild club. Since Zhou Man was capable, Lin Yuan thought that he might as well let her be Tian Ningning's assistant. As for the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's ban on Zhou Man, it was just a joke in Lin Yuan's opinion. When Tian Ningning had just introduced Zhou Man, she had already expressed her preference for Zhou Man more than once. Chapter 1375. Seeing that Tian Ningning was looking at Zhou Man's information with anticipation, Lin Yuan handed it back to her and said, "Tian Ningning, can you handle Zhou Man yourself?" When Tian Ningning heard Lin Yuan's words, she immediately nodded in pleasant surprise. "I can handle Big Sister Man. Big Sister Man is considered half a teacher to me." Lin Yuan raised his eyebrows and said, "I can handle Big Sister Man. Big Sister Man is considered half a teacher to me." Lin Yuan raised his brows and said, "Then go and do it. After that, ask Zhou Man to draft a star web report based on what I just told you and send it to me." Tian Ningning left the return from faraway mansion in high spirits. If Tian Ningning hadn't understood Lin Yuan before, she wouldn't have shown him Zhou Man's information. Now that she knew Lin Yuan was the Moon Empress disciple, she did not treat the Barbarian Snake Guild Club, which had banned Zhou Man, as a piece of cake. In less than 4 hours, she sent Zhou Man's report to Lin Yuan through the chat software. After reading it, Lin Yuan felt that it was feasible. Zhou Man's news draft was clear and impartial to each faction. It only stated the outcome and not the process. It seemed to be narrating a conflict from an outsider's point of view. When this report was posted on Star Web, it would definitely arouse people's imaginations and guess what would happen next. After Lin Yuan agreed, Zhou Man, who was beside Tian Ningning, logged into Star Web with mixed feelings. After deliberating for a long time and reviewing this Star Web report several times, she finally posted it. Zhou Man knew that after this Star Web report was posted, her life would be completely different from before. The shackles that the Barbarian Snake Guild Club had placed on her would be broken by her new owner. She would also be reborn and be able to post on the new website again. Zhou Man was very grateful to Tian Ningning and the young man who was the Moon Empress disciple. When Zhou Man's report was posted on Star Web, it caused a huge commotion. Over the past few days, people on Star Web did not discuss the dispute between Sky City and the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. It was not because the netizens had forgotten. On the one hand, it was because the matter a few days ago was too shocking. On the other hand, the dispute between Sky City and the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden had never been followed. They could only use conspiracy theories to explain the conflict. Now, a disciple of Her Holiness was involved. This disciple of His Holiness had stopped the conflict between Sky City and the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. It was no wonder that Sky City and the Miao family's beast creation garden were so peaceful. Zhou Man's report mentioned that the Moon Empress disciple had intervened in this conflict in order to stifle the chaos that might be caused by the faction struggle on the eve of the Radiance 100 sequence. The behavior of the Moon Empress disciple had garnered a wave of fans on the star web. In the past few months since the establishment of Sky City, it had always been on the hot list of forces. Coupled with the mystery and wealth of Sky City also had a large number of die-hard fans. The die-hard fans of Sky City naturally wouldn't allow the disciple of the full Moon Empress to interfere in this matter. As a result, Sky City was unable to destroy the Miao family's beast creation garden and take revenge. As a result, there were two trends on the star web. One side represented Sky City, while the other side represented the Moon Empress disciple, and an intense conflict of opinion broke out. Correspondingly, Lin Yuan's power of faith instantly increased at a faster rate. He knew that this growth rate of the power of faith would last for a while. Of course, there was no event that would never fade, and it was the same for this matter. Lin Yuan wasn't worried about this because in a month's time, with his identity as a combat class spirit chi professional, he would be able to take the top spot in the Radiance 100 sequence selection. At that time, the power of faith would naturally come again. After Zhou Man published this Star Web report, a large number of Star Web reporters began to follow the trend to report this matter. Many Star Web reporters secretly envied Zhou Man, who was said to have been banned by a certain guild club, for getting such explosive first-hand information. However, such public opinion reports were not prohibited on the Star Web. After the Star Web reporters discovered this big news, they all added their own views and wrote articles. In any case, as long as they copied it fast enough, they could become the publisher of second-hand news. They could also gain popularity and make money. This matter had only been fermenting for half a day, and before Lin Yuan could contact the Miao family's beast creation garden, Miao Zhinshan gritted his teeth and took the initiative to call Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan didn't stand on ceremony during the call with Miao Zhinshan. He directly asked for the Phoenix Nirvana flowers in the Miao family's beast creation garden's inventory. Miao Zhinshan naturally didn't dare to refuse. Lin Yuan didn't have any desire to communicate with Miao Zhinshan, but Miao Zhinshan expressed goodwill to Lin Yuan more than once. He expressed his intention to submit. Lin Yuan didn't destroy the Miao family's beast creation garden and instead protected it because he wanted to harvest the power of faith. He also wanted to use the cooperation between the Miao family's beast creation garden and the whale ocean trade to see if he could find that strange seed with immortal aura. Therefore, Lin Yuan pretended to casually mention the topic of the cooperation between the Miao family's beast creation garden and the whale ocean trade. Miao Zhinshan was worried that he didn't have a topic to talk to Lin Yuan about. He was afraid that he would say something he shouldn't and offend Lin Yuan. He saw that Lin Yuan was interested in the cooperation between the Miao family's beast creation garden and the whale ocean trade. Miao Zhinshan didn't hesitate to tell Lin Yuan the news that Di Wanqing had repeatedly emphasized not to leak. Lord Lin Yuan, our cooperation with the whale ocean trade hasn't started yet. According to the whale ocean trade's second-in-command, Di Wanqing, they found the Miao family's beast creation garden to enhance a seed. As for what the seed is, it hasn't been sent over, so I'm not too sure. Now that you've solved the predicament of the Miao family's beast creation garden, the whale ocean trade doesn't have to worry about it anymore. I'm sure they'll send the seed to the Miao family's beast creation garden soon and continue the previous cooperation. Miao Zhinshan's heart surged with anger. Miao Zhinshan recalled how the whale ocean trade had rejected him when he had sought help from the whale ocean trade. After being rejected by the whale ocean trade, Miao Zhinshan had thought of refusing to cooperate with the whale ocean trade more than once. However, Di Wanqing's threat on the way back had made Miao Zhinshan unable to ignore the whale ocean trade's power. To put it bluntly, Miao Zhinshan was afraid of the whale ocean trade. Under the threat of the whale ocean trade, he was forced to sign a cooperation agreement with the whale ocean trade. Therefore, he told Lin Yuan about the agreement he had repeatedly with the whale ocean trade not to expose it. Miao Zhinshan felt his heart full of pain and pleasure. Lin Yuan's eyes lit up when he heard Miao Zhinshan's words. Seed. Would the seed that the whale ocean trade asked the Miao family's beast creation garden to cultivate be the same as the seed that Red Thorn had devoured? End of this chapter. Chapter 1376. Lin Yuan wasn't sure if Red Thorn would devour another strange plant seed with immortal aura. Could the tongue of Relinquish evolve again? Because of that strange plant seed, Red Thorn's bloodline was upgraded to the peak of three-winged. However, it was very likely that Red Thorn would use the power of the seed to break through in one fell swoop after absorbing the next freak seed. He would become a four-winged demon and create a new history of demon phase. Lin Yuan said calmly. Oh. I see. 3 of your Miao family's Emperor-class experts were killed in the Blood Oath battle between the Beast Creation Garden and the Blissful Ocean clan. You only have 4 of the 7 Emperor-class experts left. When I have the time, I'll visit your place and use nomological crystals to replenish your Miao family's Beast Creation Garden with 3 Emperors. At the same time, I'll take a look at what kind of plant seeds the Whale Ocean Trading Company, one of the top 3 factions, needs to cooperate with other factions to cultivate. Miao Zhinshan was attracted by the first half of Lin Yuan's sentence. Although the 3 dead peak Emperor stage powerhouses were a little out of control after becoming great Emperor stage powerhouses, the Emperor stage powerhouses did not have any restrictions. But those 3 were indeed the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden's Emperor-level combat power. Miao Zhinshan's heart ached when she died. Miao Zhinshan was so happy that he could not help but take small steps in the study when he heard that he could make up for the 3 Emperor-class experts who had died. The extreme joy and surprise caused Miao Zhinshan to no longer be in the mood to listen to the second half of Lin Yuan's sentence. Subconsciously, he agreed to it. After Miao Zhinshan was done being happy, he suddenly understood what Lin Yuan meant. If Whale Ocean Trading Company had stepped in to help the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden, even if the matter had not been resolved. In order to keep his promise, Miao Zhinshan naturally wouldn't show that seed to Lin Yuan. However, Miao Zhinshan believed that he had latched onto Lin Yuan and the Radiant Moon Palace. He was no longer afraid of the Whale Ocean trade. Miao Zhinshan, who had just obtained benefits from Lin Yuan, understood a principle: he would have meat to eat if he followed Lin Yuan. Since Lin Yuan wanted to see the Whale Ocean trade seed, he would just take a look. As for Lin Yuan's last words, it was the doubt that Miao Zhinshan had always had in his heart. The Whale Ocean Trading Company was formed by the merger of 3 peak powers. Before the merger, the Sea-Sky lineage's creation master resources were superior to the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. After the merger, the Whale Ocean trade swallowed all kinds of resources with an unstoppable momentum. After developing for so many years with these resources, the Sea-Sky lineage's creation master resources would definitely increase tremendously. The Whale Ocean Trading's creation master resources were obviously superior to the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. Why would the Whale Ocean Trading cooperate with the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden? Let me recommend the app I've been using recently. It supports both Android and Apple phones. Why couldn't the Whale Ocean trade do something as trivial as strengthening a plant seed? He thought about the abnormal situation of the Whale Ocean trade over the past few years, as well as the people of the Sea-Sky bloodline who had never appeared again. Miao Zhinshan subconsciously felt that something was wrong. The Sea-Sky lineage's creation masters had always been forthright and loved to move around. Miao Zhinshan had a close relationship with the Sea-Sky lineage's creation masters. These people had held plenty of private creation master gatherings and invited Miao Zhinshan to participate. However, Miao Zhinshan had not seen these people for more than a decade. Even if he was hiding from the world, he didn't have to hide for more than 10 years, right? With the temperament of the Sea-Sky lineage's creation masters, how could they endure being isolated for 10 years? Miao Zhinshan pondered for a long time. In the end, in order to curry favor with Lin Yuan, Miao Zhinshan decided to use it as a topic of conversation. Lord Lin Yuan, don't say it. The Whale Ocean Trade's creation masters haven't appeared for more than a decade. I keep feeling that the Whale Ocean Trade is hatching some plan. Otherwise, the sea-sky lineage's creation masters wouldn't have stayed hidden for more than a decade and focused on their work. Upon hearing Miao Jinshan's words, Lin Yuan thought in his heart. It seems like the whale ocean trade's sea-sky lineage is well hidden. The Miao family's beast creation garden, which has a deep cooperation with the whale ocean trade, still doesn't know the situation. However, Lin Yuan had saved Ji Feng and learned from him that the sea-sky lineage's people had turned into skeletons. As early as 10 years ago, they had been murdered by the Myriad Flag's lineage. Of course, Lin Yuan naturally wouldn't choose to tell Miao Jinshan about this. If he told Miao Jinshan, how would he dare to cooperate with the whale ocean trade? After hanging up the phone, Lin Yuan received the Phoenix Nirvana flowers that Miao Zhuo personally delivered. Lin Yuan placed the 31 Phoenix Nirvana flowers into the Spirit Lock spatial zone and took out 31 jade pots. He planted the Phoenix Nirvana flowers in the jade pots one by one. Then, he placed them in a corner of the Spirit Lock spatial zone. Although the Phoenix Nirvana flowers had similar effects as the Dragon's Mouth Orchid, they didn't need to be like the Dragon's Mouth Orchid. It needed to be broken off by someone before a new one would grow out. When the Phoenix Nirvana flowers matured, they would automatically fall off the plant. In places without spirit chi, the fallen Phoenix Nirvana flowers would consume the flower's spirit chi and slowly wither. However, in places with abundant spirit chi, the fallen Phoenix Nirvana flowers could be preserved forever under the spirit chi's nourishment. After planting the 31 Phoenix Nirvana flowers, Lin Yuan raised their quality to bronze/epic. He then arranged for the wind speed rapid antelope in the Spirit Lock spatial zone to bury a fire element heavenly maiden grade elemental pearl in the jade pots of the Phoenix Nirvana flowers every half a month. This would allow the 31 Phoenix Nirvana flowers to absorb fire element energy. The wind speed rapid antelope's intelligence was getting higher and higher, and its quality had also been raised to legend under the pure spirit chi's baptism. The Spirit Lock spatial zone's area was now 160 square meters. But it still couldn't allow the wind speed rapid antelope to move freely. During this time, Lin Yuan found that every time he entered the Spirit Lock spatial zone, the wind speed rapid antelope's speed toward him increased. It seemed that the wind speed rapid antelope had not eaten those wind element heavenly maiden grade elemental pearls for nothing. In terms of strength, there was already a steady increase. However, it still needed a fortuitous encounter if it wanted to evolve and improve its bloodline. After leaving the Spirit Lock spatial zone, Lin Yuan looked at the time. He found that it had been 9 days since the last celestial assembly ended. As when you had gone to the Radiance Palace to learn from Mystic Moon, she had yet to return. As usual, the celestial assembly that happened once every 7 days could only be skipped. Lin Yuan understood when you. She must have been held up by something important if she did not come back on time. She should now be at a critical stage of increasing her faction. Lin Yuan decided not to wait for her and went to the Divine Wood Federation first. After all, he still had a lot of things to do in the Divine Wood Federation. Just as Lin Yuan was about to set off for the Divine Wood Federation, Luoya, who had returned to Nanma City early, stayed by the window all day, looking forward. She held her phone in anticipation, waiting for Lin Yuan to contact her. After Luoya returned to the family, she immediately asked her father for 2 walnut trees. ABC. Chapter 1377. For the first 3 days, Luoya did not feel anything when Lin Yuan did not contact her. But on the 4th day, when Lin Yuan still hadn't contacted her, Luoya panicked. On the 5th and 6th day, Luoya started to suspect if Lin Yuan had seen something from her. Luoya tried hard to recall her interactions with Lin Yuan. At that time, Fu Di's sudden attack had most likely allowed him to see that Fu Di and his subordinates were not an ordinary caravan. They were a group of bandits. Did Lin Yuan discover her identity as a member of the bandits? However, she had only joined the Dry Cliff Bandits to flirt with men and not to plunder the Deep Cult Federation's merchant group's resources. Or perhaps Lin Yuan did not like her at all. The scene of Lu Jie kneeling on one knee in front of Lin Yuan shocked Luoya. Luoya could not help but examine Lin Yuan's identity. Lu Jia had used an insect-type carcinoma Fey, and it seemed like the insect-type Fey that had pulled out the Skynet was of a high grade. Such a young and powerful guard was even more imposing than the young masters of the 3-star families that Luoya had seen. It could be seen that Lin Yuan was a descendant of a hidden noble family in the Deep Cult Federation. A descendant of a hidden noble family in the Deep Cult Federation was comparable to a young master of a 4-star family in the Divine Wood Federation. After thinking about it, Luoya, who could not figure out the reason, was completely conflicted and depressed. On the 9th day, Luoya, who had always been reluctant to leave flowers behind, would unconsciously think of Lin Yuan's face when she looked out the window. She would think of such a handsome youth that she might not be able to touch for the rest of her life. Luoya could not help but feel sad, and she cried like a pear blossom in the rain. Even when her tears wet her favorite purple fur, Luoya did not care. In fact, Luoya was not the only one who was sad during these 9 days. Lin, Bei Su, Tally, and Su Yiren were even more sad. Lin, Bei Su, Tally, and Su Yiren had been looking forward to the Celestial Body Conference in 7 days. On the 7th day, they fell asleep with anticipation. They were ready to go to the center of the universe for the sacred appointment. When they woke up, Lin, Bei Su, Tally, and Su Yiren were shocked to find that they had not entered the conference in the center of the universe. Their hearts tightened, and they forced themselves to sleep again. But on the 8th day, the 4 of them still did not receive any guidance from the stars in their dreams. Everyone in the Azure Federation delegation on the back of the island Whale knew that the 4th Azure envoy was in a bad mood. Even Lord Lan Sun's request for an audience was met with a closed door. The 10 young prodigies from the Azure Federation shrunk their necks, afraid that the 4th Azure envoy's emotions would burn them. The 10 youths were well aware of the identity of the 4th Azure envoy. The little princess of the Azure Cloud Leopard clan, one of the 12 great Azure families, and the White Lion clan, a 4-star family, had awakened the beast marks of the Azure Cloud Leopard and the White Lion clan. He was a prodigy that they could not compare to. The Azure Federation was a federation that was completely controlled by the 12 Azure aristocratic families. If he offended Lin, his identity as a member of the Azure 100 sequence might even be removed from his position as a member of the Azure 100 with just a word from Lin. Lin, who had locked herself in the room, covered her eyes with a white cloth for the first time after she regained her sight. In the darkness, Lin touched the specially made book with her hand, just to calm herself down. But when his hands turned red, he felt the long-lost prickling pain. Lin's heart still could not calm down. Lin's maidservant, Cece, was anxious. She did not understand what had happened to the young lady in the past 2 days. However, Lin's changes in the past 2 days made Cece know that she could not persuade her. Lin, who once again covered her eyes with the white cloth, understood even more how attached she was to the man who had lit up her eyes and changed her fate in the center of the resplendent stars. Even if she had become the 4th Azure envoy of the Azure Federation, she could only find security and sustenance from that man. But why didn't that man keep the appointment in 7 days? The more she thought about it, the more confused Lin became. Suddenly, Lin recalled that the man had mentioned the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce when they were discussing the deal. If she found the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce, would she be able to see that man in the Radiance Chamber of Commerce? At the thought of this, Lin pulled off the white ribbon covering her eyes. She walked out of the house and arrived directly above the floating island whale's head. Looking at the sea level, Lin's face was calm, but she was looking forward to reaching the Radiance Chamber of Commerce soon. Thinking of the conflict between the Radiance Chamber of Commerce and the Freedom Federation a few days ago, Lin's heart tightened. That man didn't keep the appointment. He couldn't have been affected by that conflict, right? 5 days later is the next 7-day appointment. Will you come for the next 7-day appointment? Bei Su, who was in the underground world, did not see the meteorological anomalies that could only be seen on the surface. However, in these 7 days, Bei Su had grown a lot. Bei Su used the sharp shadow dark bat's exclusive skill, the bat-fanged vampires, to pull up a team of 10. After pulling up the team of 10, Bei Su decided not to continue expanding the team for a short time. Instead, he focused on improving the strength of the 10 people in the team. Bei Su, who had consecutively leveled several Class 1 underground dimensional rifts, had really equipped a few source-type items for the team members he had pulled up. Looking at the growth of his team members, Bei Su felt a sense of accomplishment for the first time. Bei Su very much wanted to tell Lin Yuan about his results in the past 7 days. Bei Su did not ask for Lin Yuan to praise him and only hoped to share his happiness with him. To be able to prove in front of Lin Yuan that he had not let down Lin Yuan's investment and expectations. He was also useful. Lin Yuan had saved his life, allowed him to have a fei, and got rid of the curse-marked stone worm clone. Such a great favor could not be repaid in this life. Bei Su had always been hardworking. When he had just pulled up the team to fight against the Class 1 underground dimensional rift, it was common for him to not sleep for 3 days in a row. However, in order to not miss the Celestial Council, Bei Su slept for an entire day on the 7th day. However, Bei Su, who had not entered the Celestial Council, panicked. Unlike Yin Lin, Bei Su did not have the ability to go to Radiance. He had the ability to talk about cooperation with Lin Yuan and the ability to find Lin Yuan in the real world. Bei Su could not do anything and could only endure silently. He gritted his teeth like a helpless little beast. During these few days, the 10 team members that Bei Su had pulled found that the usually sunny Bei Su had suddenly become silent. He was desperately cleaning up the rock worms and the newly discovered underground dimensional rifts. Even if he was exhausted and covered in blood, he still persisted in silence. It was obvious that he had something on his mind. After an unknown period of time, Bei Su fell on a rock, exhausted. In the dark environment, Bei Su's eyes were red, and he gently sniffed. He only hoped to see the man who had redeemed him again in another 5 days and to be able to join the grand event held in the Celestial Council. End of this chapter. Chapter 1378. Trey did not think too much about his failure to enter the Celestial Council. During their migration, the Iron Hoof tribe encountered a group of bronze long-eared sand foxes. The Iron Hoof tribe was trapped in the wilderness by these long-eared sand foxes. The long-eared sand fox was a very cunning wild beast species fey that liked to move in groups. Long-eared sand foxes would often choose to trap their prey within a certain range in order not to attack recklessly and injure themselves. They split up and feigned an attack to tire the prey out. Then, due to the long period of siege, the prey would enter a state of thirst and hunger, and then they would surround and kill the prey. The strongest person in the Iron Hoof tribe was Tally's grandfather. Trey's grandfather's main fey was a silver earth-drilling mole. However, even if a silver pinnacle earth-drilling mole was a rank higher than the long-eared sand foxes, it was impossible for it to fight against a pack of long-eared sand foxes. In the end, when Tally's grandfather was in danger, he used the Iron Hoof tribe's treasure, the earth wheel flower. With the help of the earth wheel flower's medicinal properties, the earth-drilling mole successfully advanced from the peak of the silver tier to the gold tier. The gold tier burrowing mole took the initiative to attack and kill a few long-eared sand foxes. After sensing the power of the gold tier burrowing mole, the group of long-eared sand foxes had no choice but to give up their siege on the Iron Hoof tribe. In the wilderness, once a long-eared sand fox was injured, even if it wasn't treated as prey by beasts that were stronger than it would still be killed. Those small and bloodthirsty insect species feys would also look for the long-eared sand fox. Therefore, feys in the wilderness, even if they were hungry beasts, would do their best to ensure that they wouldn't get injured. Due to the siege of the long-eared sand foxes, Trey was unable to sleep for about 2 hours. Trey thought that he had missed the grand event at the center of the starry sky. He was unable to participate in the gathering that was held once every 7 days and was unable to receive Lin Yuan's instructions. Trey could only follow his previous agreement with Lin Yuan and continue to guide the Iron Hoof tribe to the border between the Iron Hammer Federation and the Divine Wood Federation. Moving an entire tribe was not an easy task. There were people of all ages in a tribe. The old, the young, the women, and the children moved more than twice as fast as the men in their prime. The old, the weak, the women, and the children had to rest for up to 20 minutes every hour. Previously, when the earth-drilling mole was still at the silver level, the people of the Iron Hoof tribe were somewhat worried about migrating. But now that the earth-drilling mole had advanced to the gold rank, and the Iron Hoof tribe was taking the trade route opened by the Depreem caravan. The gold-burrowing mole was enough to deal with most of the dangers on the trade route. During the migration process, Trey only hoped that the next gathering wouldn't be disturbed by Fays. Trey was not very worried that Lin Yuan would be angry about not being able to gather. In Trey's heart, the man who was surrounded by hundreds of laws and wills was as warm as a big brother. Yin Lin, Bei Su, and Tally all had their own thoughts. They were disappointed that they couldn't participate in the gathering that happened once every 7 days. However, their worries and negative emotions added together could not compare to Su Iran, who was hiding next to a trash can in an alley in the Divine Wood Federation's Oak City. Zoel was originally a dark emissary chosen by the 7 nations of the Dark Gloom. None of the 7 federations on the Dark Continent could compare to the Divine Wood Federation. However, when the 7 federations of the Dark Continent were combined, their strength was not much different from the Divine Wood Federation, the Iron Hammer Federation, and the Depreem Federation combined. In the Divine Wood Federation, Zoel, who had always been at the top, tasted true helplessness and the darkness from the bottom. Zoel could not remember how many times she had been beaten in the month or so since she came to the Divine Wood Federation. How many times had she struggled to survive on the verge of death? In addition to external factors, Zoel herself had to endure severe pain from the soul 7 or 8 times a day. Fortunately, when Zoel had fainted from the pain in her soul, she had chosen to dirty herself or crawl into the trash can. Otherwise, Zoel, who was in the alley, might have become someone's prey. In the past, even in a difficult situation, Zoel would not have been willing to be controlled by other organizations. Being controlled was equivalent to losing freedom. This was the reason why Zoel had not immediately joined the Celestial Council when she had first entered it. However, after deciding to join the Celestial Council and accepting Lin Yuan's request, there was not a day that Zoel did not hope that Lin Yuan could find her quickly. Lin Yuan had given Zoel, who was in despair, a daily hope. Zoel worked hard to scavenge, trying her best to survive before Lin Yuan arrived. However, the Celestial Council, which was held once every 7 days, did not convene as scheduled, making Zoel's heart fall into an ice cave. Zoel felt that the whole world had darkened, and life was no longer glorious. Joining the Celestial Council was Zoel's only salvation. The Celestial Council's essence was the function of a sacred source life form, which Zoel had discovered when she had first entered the Celestial Council. Sacred source life forms were not so easy to obtain, and a faction with a sacred source life form was enough to show how powerful it was. In addition, during the Celestial Council, Yin Lin and Lin Yuan's conversation made Zoel guess that Yin Lin's identity was not simple. Yin Lin, who had not previously had the aura of a sacred source life form, suddenly had the aura of a sacred source life form during the last gathering. This was enough to prove the value of the Celestial Council. Zoel had now regarded the Celestial Council, or rather, Lin Yuan, as her path of salvation. Zoel had placed all her hopes on Lin Yuan and the Celestial Council. When she was sure that the Celestial Council would not convene as scheduled, Zoel even thought of death. Now, every moment of her life in the Divine Wood Federation, Zoel was like a refugee. Every breath she took was filled with the smell of garbage, and it was trampling on Zoel's self-esteem. But in the end, Zoel still thought of Lin Yuan's words. As long as one is alive, there is hope. This sentence once again supported Zoel in the darkness. It gave Zoel a reason to continue persevering. Zoel tightly gripped the phone she had found and murmured, "There is still hope. Maybe I can hold on for another 7 days. The last 7 days." Thinking of this, Zoel's body suddenly trembled. The intense pain in her soul caused Zoiran to faint. In the Return from Faraway Manor, the mother of Bloodbath, who had been in a room with complicated feelings, learned that Lin Yuan was going to the Divine Wood Federation. It immediately expressed that it would go with Lin Yuan to the Divine Wood Federation and protect his safety during the training. However, after some consideration, Lin Yuan finally rejected the Mother of Bloodbath. Lin Yuan said seriously to the Mother of Bloodbath, "Mother of Bloodbath, your family will definitely go to Radiance to find you." End of chapter. Chapter 1379. During this period of time, your parents came to the Radiance Federation, but you were with me in the Divine Wood Federation. Your parents will be worried because they can't find you. Moreover, with Lu Jia following me to the Divine Wood Federation, I won't be in any danger. If we really encounter danger, I will summon the killer butterfly at any time. The Mother of Bloodbath knew that every word Lin Yuan said was for its sake. However, the Mother of Bloodbath was not happy at all. As Lin Yuan's path protector, it would be a dereliction of duty if he could not accompany Lin Yuan when he went out to train. She recalled how Lin Yuan had used a sacred source life form to lower his temperature. The Mother of Bloodbath knew that Lin Yuan was not much weaker than it. Lin Yuan could already protect himself. This made the Mother of Bloodbath suddenly feel that it was very, very far away from Lin Yuan. Moreover, this feeling continued to grow stronger and stronger. The feelings of Fays had always been simple, let alone a female spider's yearning. Just as the sea of bitterness in the Mother of Bloodbath's heart was about to ripple, he gently placed his hand on the Mother of Bloodbath's shoulder. When Lin Yuan saw the Mother of Bloodbath's expression, he thought it was still thinking about why its parents had abandoned it. Lin Yuan could not comfort her too much about such things. He could only wait for the Mother of Bloodbath to meet his family before all the knots in his heart could be resolved. Lin Yuan gently patted the Mother of Bloodbath's shoulder and then brushed the hair on its shoulder to the back of its head. Given your parents' strength, they should be able to reach the Huiyao sect within a month. If you're really bored during this month, why don't you just organize an event and find a group of friends who get along with you to host a food festival together? Upon hearing that, the Mother of Bloodbath's heart warmed. From Lin Yuan's eyes, the Mother of Bloodbath could see that he cared for it from the bottom of his heart. Lin Yuan's concern was like a spring breeze, brushing away the sea of bitterness in the Mother of Bloodbath's heart and making its feelings tremble slightly. The more it trembled, the more the Mother of Bloodbath's feelings solidified. The Mother of Bloodbath broke into a smile, stunning Lin Yuan. The Mother of Bloodbath, which usually had a cold expression, suddenly smiled. Its red eyes were bright, and its red lips were curled up. It was extremely beautiful. It was like a peony that had suddenly been dyed in color, exceptionally stunning. The Mother of Bloodbath said, "Lin Yuan, how can you bring Lu Jia alone to the Divine Wood Federation? Ji Feng has been guarding the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce during this period of time, so it's not convenient for him to show up. Why don't you bring him to the Divine Wood Federation? With Ji Feng around, we can take care of each other if we encounter any danger. The killer butterfly is guarding the swamp world. It won't be good if it encounters danger in the swamp world when you summon it. I'll be heading over to the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce during this period. I can use the Sacred Source Life Form Essence contract you gave me. After that, I'll familiarize myself with the changes in my abilities after transforming into a favored spirit." When Lin Yuan heard the Mother of Bloodbath's words, he suddenly realized that he had neglected Ji Feng during this period. In the Radiance Federation, especially in the royal capital, it was inconvenient for Ji Feng to show his face anywhere. However, once they left the Radiance Federation and the Whale Ocean's 10,000 Flags lineage's sphere of influence, they would not be able to escape. Ji Feng could move freely now. The Mother of Bloodbath could no longer be bothered with its family and focus on the Sacred Source Lifeform's essence contract to increase its strength. In Lin Yuan's opinion, it couldn't be any better. Lin Yuan smiled at the Mother of Bloodbath. "Mother of Bloodbath, show me what your Sacred Source Lifeform is the next time I come back. I'll prepare the resources to raise the Sacred Source Lifeform star grade." When the Mother of Bloodbath heard Lin Yuan's words, it suddenly felt as though it was looking at the C-rank spirit chi professional who had just arrived at the Radiant Moon Palace. In half a year, this youth had experienced more things than others in a lifetime, but he was still the same. Lin Yuan's temperament hadn't changed, causing the mother of Bloodbath to suddenly have an impulse. It wanted to hug this youth in front of it without caring about anything else. In the end, the mother of Bloodbath's rationality stopped its impulse. I want to run to you without caring about anything. But compared to you, I'm not good enough. The mother of Bloodbath, which had just transformed into a favored spirit and reached Myth 3, suddenly felt pressure in its heart. The mother of Bloodbath had never been a lazy fae. However, the mother of Bloodbath knew that if it wanted to rush to Lin Yuan, it would need to work harder. When he went to the Divine Wood Federation this time, he took out the floating silver from the underground space's wall. He also chose 8 spirit craftsmen from the manor that Hu Quan had appointed. Ji Feng and Lu Jia, who had rushed back to the return from faraway manor from the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce with the 8 spirit craftsmen and the treasure cave golden cicada artifact, crossed the spatial tunnel, and went straight to the Divine Wood Federation. After returning to the Divine Wood Federation again, Lin Yuan recovered from the nauseating dizziness. He was stunned by the scene in front of him. When Lin Yuan had left, the Divine Wood Federation's underground palace had just been excavated. The surrounding walls were all covered in dust. But now, this huge underground palace had been built with steel plates as a framework and divided into different areas. As Hu Quan drew the blueprint, he commanded his spirit craftsmen to supervise the dry cliff bandit spies and transport the ironwood powder. Hu Tianjing commanded his main fae, the Terraclaw rock bear, to use the heavy rock law and condense the ironwood sand into a rock slab. Upon seeing Lin Yuan appear, Hu Quan hurriedly walked over excitedly and asked him, Lin Yuan, have you found the spatial soft silver? Now, I just need enough spatial soft silver to be buried in the radium-uranium steel walls. Then, I can lay the rock slabs that Hu Tian has condensed in the past few days on the walls and then carve the walls. Because of your idea of the forbidden area, I plan to carve the bone lotus flower that the 6-winged demon spawned on the walls of the underground palace. In the sea of bone lotus flowers, carve the maps of the Divine Wood Federation, the Iron Hammer Federation, and the Deep Lush Federation. Let the entire underground palace's walls form a set of murals. What do you think of the Bone Lotus World Annihilation Catalog? Lin Yuan did not want to give too many opinions on Hu Quan's design ideas. He would just let Hu Quan do as he pleased. Although Lin Yuan did not want to give any opinions on the design, he still had to give his opinions on the function. He had communicated with Tally in the Celestial Council previously. Lin Yuan planned to let Tally apply to the Iron Hammer Imperial Court to confer the land at the junction of the Divine Wood Federation and the Iron Hammer Federation as the Iron Hoof Tribe's private territory. Then, he would let the Iron Hoof Tribe build a city in this area. Through the geographical location, he would grab the throats of the Divine Wood Federation and the Iron Hammer Federation. If he wanted to build a city in this kind of place where chickens did not lay eggs and attract people there. In addition to the forbidden area shrouded in fog all day, there were other more attractive things. ABC. Chapter 1380. It was the most scarce resource in the agro-pattern continent, the Creation Master resource. Therefore, in the underground palace, there had to be a few breeding rooms. I've already dealt with the floating silver. I'll give it to you in 2 days. I have always trusted Uncle Hu's designs. However, when Uncle Hu is constructing the underground palace, I hope to divide a region to be the Creation Master's breeding room. Uncle Hu's murals might as well be inlaid with some completely jade-textured wood. At that time, I will place a few reflection Sun King lotuses and plant phase that can release spirit chi in the underground palace. This will ensure that the underground palace is always in a bright state. The fragrance of the completely jade-textured wood can also cover up the earthy smell rising from the ground. Upon hearing that, Hu Quan's eyes lit up. Hu Quan especially liked Lin Yuan's design concept of fusing phase and design together. This kind of design concept was what Hu Quan lacked. Plant species phase that could release large amounts of spirit chi had always been precious. As a spirit craftsman, Hu Quan could not casually add such precious items into the design. When Hu Tian, who was commanding the Terraclaw rock bears to form the rock slabs, saw that Lin Yuan had arrived. He had been looking for an opportunity to talk to him. However, Lin Yuan had been chatting with Hu Quan since the beginning. Hu Tian didn't have a suitable opportunity to talk to Lin Yuan. While Hu Quan listened to Lin Yuan's words and began to draw the place where the completely jade-textured wood was inlaid on the design. Hu Tian took small steps forward. He said to Lin Yuan, "Lord Lin Yuan, I didn't dare to close my eyes during these 6 days because I wanted to let you see the changes in the underground palace. In the past 6 days, I've taken out almost all the stone slabs needed for this underground palace." Upon hearing Hu Tian's words, Lin Yuan immediately knew what Hu Tian was thinking. Hu Tian was trying to claim credit from him. Before Lin Yuan could say anything, Hu Quan had already glanced at Hu Tian and said in dissatisfaction, "You're right. What do you mean you've already built all the rock slabs needed for the underground palace? If I didn't keep an eye on you, would you be so hardworking? Also, who told you that the underground palace only has 1 floor? After the construction of the first floor is completed, as long as Lin Yuan wishes, he can also build the second and third floors to increase the underground palace's functionality. You've only worked for 6 days and you're already in such a rush to show off. Do you want to ask for some benefits? The Zheng family was destroyed by Sky City. As a servant of Sky City, shouldn't you be doing your job?" Over the past few days, Hu Quan had become increasingly dissatisfied with Hu Tian, who shared the same surname as him. This was because Hu Quan could clearly sense Hu Tian's purpose in doing things. Commanding the Terraclaw rock bears to use the heavy rock world to create rock slabs was a very easy task. But Hu Tian looked very tired. Was Hu Tian using a myth breed Fey as a platinum Fey? Hu Tian was doing this to show off in front of him and then use him to let Lin Yuan know of Hu Tian's efforts. A spirit craftsman was a job with a conscience, and Hu Quan's greatest taboo was people who played tricks and claimed credit. Hu Tian had both of these points. Therefore, when Hu Tian claimed credit to Lin Yuan, Hu Quan mercilessly exposed Hu Tian's trick. Hu Quan's words made Hu Tian, who was smiling and thought that he would be able to get Lin Yuan's reward smoothly, feel awkward on the spot. In the Radiance Federation, Class 5 spirit craftsmen were extremely sought after by veteran factions and top factions. After all, the furniture, decorations, and artifacts made by Class 5 spirit craftsmen could show their status. Although there were fewer Class 5 spirit craftsmen than Class 4 creation masters, there were still many Class 4 creation masters. A Class 4 creation master's status was still higher than a Class 5 spirit craftsman's. Hu Tian had deliberately shown off in front of Hu Quan because Hu Quan was very valued by Lin Yuan. In fact, Hu Tian did not think much of Hu Quan. In Hu Tian's opinion, he and Hu Quan were both working under Lin Yuan. Given his identity as a Class 4 creation master, Hu Quan had no reason to offend him. However, Hu Tian's little plan had obviously failed. Hu Quan did not care about Hu Tian's opinion at all and did not give him any face. This was because Hu Quan did not simply regard himself as a member of Sky City's faction. Due to his contact with Lin Yuan, Hu Quan, who had no children after his parents passed away, had already regarded Lin Yuan as family. Hu Quan did not want Lin Yuan to be deceived by Hu Tian. Hu Quan knew that once Hu Tian succeeded in deceiving Lin Yuan the first time, it would only become worse in the future. Looking at Lin Yuan's faint smile, Hu Tian thought of Lin Yuan's means in the Jing family's reception room. He could not help but feel terrified. Hu Tian hurriedly said to Lin Yuan while trembling, "Lord Lin Yuan, I have no intention of claiming credit. I'm your servant. Whatever you ask me to do is what I should do. I'm your servant. Whatever you ask me to do is what I should do. Uncle Hu Tian will continue to be used by you here." Lin Yuan ignored Hu Tian and turned to speak to Hu Quan. "I only brought 8 spirit craftsmen this time. With Hu Tian helping to make the rock slabs, you don't have to use a little bit of iron grinding wood to burn the rock slabs." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Hu Quan looked at Hu Tian in disdain and nodded. "Lin Yuan, I won't be polite with Hu Tian. If you want to carve murals in the underground palace, you need to lay at least 2 layers of rock slabs to have the three-dimensional feeling of carvings. If you have enough floating soft silver, I advocate that you also lay another layer of floating soft silver threads. This way, you can better isolate it from the outside world's detection. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan replied with a smile. Uncle Hu, there will be enough floating soft silver in the future. Then, Lin Yuan looked at the trembling Hu Tian and said solemnly, if you want a reward, sure. If you want a reward, sure. I'm never stingy with rewards for loyal people. However, I've always only given rewards to people with meritorious service. When will you be under Uncle Hu's command and satisfy him? When will I give you 5 Earth Element Heavenly Maiden Grade Elemental Pearls? After saying that, Lin Yuan took out the treasured artifacts made from the treasure cave golden cicada's skin and stomach sack and released Lu Jia, Ji Feng, and the 8th spirit craftsman. I've been using a book-chasing app recently. Cache books and read them offline. After the 8th spirit craftsmen were released, Hu Quan immediately arranged for them to work. Lu Jia looked at the underground palace in front of him and was secretly surprised by the progress of the construction. Lu Jia walked to Hu Quan's side and handed him a diamond face storage box. Uncle Hu, these are the dishes I cooked for you. They're all your favorite dishes. I've put these ingredients in food boxes made of spirit-nurturing wood. I've made about 15 days' worth, enough for you to eat until the next time I come over. Spirit-nurturing wood was a kind of very functional wood, and its greatest function was to keep fresh. The Spirit Food Pavilion would use food boxes made of spirit-nurturing wood to transport dishes. Lu Jia's food boxes were given to him by Zhen Lai when he was a guest. Hu Quan took the diamond face storage box from Lu Jia and said with a smile, it's already my pleasure to design and build an underground palace. It's simply a pleasure to be able to eat your cooking on such a pleasure. To be able to eat your cooking on such a joyous occasion, it's really a blessing on top of a blessing. ABC that you're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.